a beautiful Sunday morning, and you are listening to the Super Gamecast. I'm your host, Bronson Fiore, joined by the always awesome Aaron Reynolds.
I am here despite all odds.
Yes. We got our mod mommy, Emily Hulslander, wielder of the band Hammer. Don't be acting out in chat.
Good morning, nerds.
She'll bonk you good. And then finally, the newest permanent member of the team. He's been guesting for a while. Lucy.
Hello. Hopefully everyone else has been having a weird week.
No kidding.
Yeah. I had a week that involved a lot of understanding what Digital Foundry goes through. And, man.
Fun.
Yeah, those dudes work really hard.
Ain't easy work.
Yeah, that is not easy work, testing a million different games and then what looks better and why they look better, which we'll be going over later in the show. I tested, I think it was 18 PS5 Pro enhanced games, and
18, wow.
Yep, did that. That's how I spent my evenings for about 4 nights this week. So yeah.
Good Lord. All right.
I was I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. Last week I was like, yeah, I kind of gave a quick overview and it was fine, but you know. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I just I think it's funny because that's something that I think you've been interested in a way for a long time, like what Digital Foundry does, and like you've been interested in video game coverage for years and years of your life now. Yes. So it's interesting that you're now tapping into this aspect.
Yes, I wish I had some of the tools they have, and also, holy shit, that is, like I said, it is a crazy amount of work that those guys do after just doing this run, and like I did not have the tools or the time to do as in depth as they do, but even then, it's real nuts. We'll be going over that later in the show, though.
Okay.
Yeah. But for now, hey, the news. The newsy news.
The news.
So, hey, first news story we got. This was so funny when I read this.
Oh, no.
A gamer sent Nintendo a letter boasting he had thousands of burner channels to stream pirated games from and could do this all day. Nintendo has now sued him for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
What did you gain from this,
Captain
sir?
America, so fuck him.
What are you doing? Fucking idiot.
He's clearly fucking around and finding out.
Seriously. He fucked around way too much, though.
Yeah, let me see if he has an age on here. Okay. Let's see. Jesse Keene, a.k.a. Every Game Guru, accusing him not only streaming 10 Nintendo games before they came out, but telling his viewers how to obtain them. According to the lawsuit, he has obtained and streamed leaked Nintendo games at least 50 times since 2022, and provided links to Yuzu and Ryujinx emulators for viewers. Nintendo alleged these actions amount to trafficking in illegal circumvention devices, and insists they cause millions of dollars of damage through lost sales. Yeah, a bunch of stuff on the lawsuit. No word on his age, but he's obviously an adult because they're suing him like an adult. Let's see. In addition to seizure and destruction of emulators and devices in his possession, Nintendo wants $150,000 in damages for each violation of Nintendo's rights under the Copyright Act, and $2,500 per violation arising from the violations of the anti-circumvention and anti-trafficking provisions of the Copyright Act. With over 50 alleged incidents in 2 years, the damages could reach $7.5 million, or Nintendo could take actual damages to be proven at the trial. Whoo! This is dumb. This was so fucking stupid. Yep. This is so fucking dumb. You know, like, dude, when you gonna learn, when you pirate and shit, Like, yeah, you can say I pirate stuff. Don't fucking taunt the companies or fucking go out and all this other shit. Like, you know, like, oh god, what the fuck?
You're also doing damage to yourself. Look, regardless of like, what do you get? What do you get out of this? Think about it. Are you? Is this for your own satisfaction that you get to taunt Nintendo? Like,
I guess maybe it, you know, like, oh, you know, people might check out his stream and his socials. Like, look at this dude, fucking with Nintendo. Like, maybe that.
Did he post this publicly saying like, "Hey, look at me taunting Nintendo"?
Oh yeah, he was doing it on streams and videos.
Oh, good. Oh,
and
okay.
He said, yeah.
So they've got him by the balls on this. There's no doubt.
Yeah, like
stupid.
Yeah, so the and this is probably going to go worse than Gary Bowser, who was sentenced in 2021.
I forgot about Gary Bowser.
40 months in prison and a $14.5 million fine for his role in the Nintendo hacking group. Look.
Well, so this is different though in that he's not selling these, but he's still like out here just blatantly doing the illegal thing and
telling other people
Nintendo
to
directly.
and also telling other people, here's how you do the illegal thing. This is where you can get the illegal thing and do the illegal thing.
And it's so funny because there are so many places where you can go find. There are people who are telling you how to do it, but they're obviously not going out here. Here is my name and my face, and here's how you do this.
Yes, absolutely. And look, here's the thing. I am all for, like, don't pirate modern video games that you could easily purchase for a lot of reasons. You know, like, there's a lot of reasons I believe that. You should probably not be pirating Echoes of Wisdom. For so many fucking reasons. But on the other side,
which one is that again?
That's the newest one. They came out like 2 months ago. The newest Zelda. Like, you should probably not be pirating Echoes of Wisdom. But if you are gonna do this shit, like, why would you do it this way? What?
Yeah. Emily, what? I see it on your lips, your eyes. What is happening? What's going on?
Okay, so interesting point of order. I found a news article from Castle Rock, Colorado.
All right.
He's 38.
Oh, so he's older than us even. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The suit seeks $150,000 per violation.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. All right.
Which could mean a court could find him liable for $7.5 million for the alleged 50 violations of the lawsuit references.
Yeah, we brought that up.
All right. 38, huh? God. That's you should know better.
Look, my stance on this continues to be, if there's an official release, support the official release, but if not, fuck them. You know,
I'm more, you know, and then I'm more in the lawlessness category, but like, don't be stupid about it.
Yeah, like Aaron is like pirate whatever, but you know,
like unless there's indies who are like that money goes directly to them, like that is primarily helping those small creators. Absolutely, go get those. Nintendo's not going to suffer too much, but don't be stupid about it. What are you doing? You are 38.
I mean, this had to be like clout chasing, right? This had to be like, I'm going to get
But that's
Twitch
what makes
famous.
It funnier. You are a 38-year-old clout chasing.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But bro, he sees the Twitch streamers and he wants to be the rich Twitch streamer.
I do wonder sometimes if we like blew up, like got to like partner level, what are the lengths we'd go to satisfy this group? We don't know. We're just human.
The thing is,
you would think not this dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, like you're right. But the other side of that, like I don't know, man. I don't think that we would do anything this fucking stupid.
I'd like to think we're better than that. I would like to think that.
Just a little.
You know, like we've played emulated games on the stream. We run an entire show on emulation.
Yeah.
Like it's but like, bro. Oh, that's...
Dude.
All right, so this guy's an idiot. This is a case where I'm like, you know what, Nintendo? I hope you win this one. This guy's a moron. He deserves it.
So what was this guy's name again?
Jesse Keene.
I already forgot it.
Okay.
It's not Nintendo
His name's
related.
not Bowser. It's not a Mario character.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna remember this.
Yeah.
Now if his name was Jesse
I'm not
Mario.
a fan of I'm not a fan of putting this guy in millions of dollars of debt just because like $1 million seems like an insurmountable amount to me. But
he's 38. He's going to jail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
he's going to jail.
This guy is getting 3 years of jail and then like a bunch of extra shit with it. Yeah, like it's
damn it.
Look.
I mean, I could see them barring him from actually owning anything.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Don't be stupid, people. Come on.
This is actually a case where I'm like, Nintendo, you know what? This guy, I'm with you on this one.
Just don't say it too loudly. They may hear you, and then they'll go after other people.
Don't encourage them that much.
Yeah, this is the case where I'm like, all right, Nintendo, you know what? This guy was stupid enough to directly send you a letter saying, "Here I am, come get me, motherfucker." You know what?
And they did.
Don't be stupid.
So, that's the Nintendo news for the day. Now I got a whole bunch of Sony and Microsoft to get through.
That's,
oh boy.
I'm all about it. It's what we've done for God knows how many years now.
Yep. Hey, PS5 Pro sales in Japan seem to be exceeding all expectations. It is outselling the PS4 Pro at the same time in its life. In spite of being really expensive, it's even outselling the Switch this week in Japan. So yeah, that's and it's apparently performing better than the PS4 Pro at that same time in its life in general. I am trying to figure out what is contributing to this.
Right.
I have speculation on what I think it is in Japan.
Okay.
So, Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out in February, and I played that beta, and on the base PS4, it runs like poo-poo. Big poo-poo. It runs real bad. And Japan loves Monster Hunter more than anything. Like, you want to talk about a game franchise selling like crazy. Monster Hunter and Japan hand in hand. So maybe they're like, I want to play Monster Hunter in the best way possible, so I'm going to buy this PS5 Pro, especially because apparently if you have something that's below a 4080, it also runs like shit on PC. So
that's coming out in February worldwide, isn't it?
It sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What?
Well, all right. I got to get a job. I forgot that Wilds is coming out so soon.
That's gonna be a fun website game, fun Discord game. I'm sure everyone's gonna be playing.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So, yeah, and then Hiroki Totoki came out saying it had a strong pre-order performance, slightly better than PS4 Pro, and the price has not currently adversely affected the product sales. I think that this is because the people who are most interested in this thing are getting it now. That's part of it.
You mentioning that Monster Hunter bit is like, oh my god, that's right. Like, this is like one of the biggest games in the world, and it's running very poorly on the old console, and it's a goddamn beautiful looking game. That makes all the sense in the world.
Monster Hunter is going to cause a lot of PS5 Pro purchases and graphics card upgrades. I'm telling you right now.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I have a feeling GTA 6 next. I think PS5 Pro is going to have like a massive sales surge around GTA 6.
Have they mentioned anything about like the next PlayStation console? They haven't said anything, right?
No. A lot of people are speculating it's gonna be 2028.
Okay, that's a ways off.
Yeah, so
that justifies a purchase between Monster Hunter Wilds, Death Stranding 2, and GTA 6.
Yeah. But, no.
So, quick story about GTA 6, along with a number of quote unquote violent video games. There is a country that just decided that they're just outright banned, and that police are now going to be able to raid businesses or homes in search of these violent video games, and GTA 6 is one of them.
What
country?
Yeah.
I would imagine it's...
I can't pronounce the name, but it begins with a K and ends in Stan.
I mean, I can...
That could be just about any... I think so.
That can't be...
I thought it...
Kazakhstan, really?
Yeah.
No.
No, I found it. I just found it. Tajikistan.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's why I couldn't pronounce that.
That sucks.
Yep.
But
I think for a good GTA 6 DLC, there are actually copies of Grand Theft Auto 6 in Grand Theft Auto 6, and the police are searching for them.
They have banned... So they've only banned 2 games so far, but it's been GTA and Counter-Strike. They're saying they incite crime.
Okay, well...
How does Counter-Strike incite crime?
Right.
They're using the narrative that we were dealing with here with all the lawyers, including Jack, the famous Jack that got disbarred.
Jack
saying
Thompson.
that violent video games incite violent tendencies, which has widely been disproven by multiple different case studies.
Yeah, so... Well, that's weird. But yeah, with back to the original topic, though, Aaron, I think that the PS5 Pro is going to see a nice surge with each of those games you mentioned, Death Stranding and Monster Hunter, and Grand Theft Auto. Like,
especially Grand Theft Auto,
being able to market that, yo, dog, this is the best place to play Grand Theft Auto. Yeah.
What's the price of the PS5 Pro?
$700.
Fucking god damn it.
Okay. Yeah, it would. Yes. And then if you want a disc drive, that's another $80. So.
Well, I'll have some questions for you for the PS5 Pro portion of this show.
Okay. You got it.
Great.
All right. So next news story is, hey, the PS5 Slim Digital Edition is getting a $70 price cut until Christmas. It is $380 for a base PS5 with no disc drive. Yeah, that's not bad.
And it is tormenting the scalpers for the Pro.
Yes.
They were already selling these at a loss, but now when this was announced, they I guess several of them were caught like ranting about it and incredibly upset because now the original PlayStation is now cheaper than what they're selling the Pro.
That's so funny.
I mean, yep.
At
least one good thing came out of this year.
Yes.
First got fucked.
Which my response to scalpers is the same as last week. Fuck them. And then this is a great deal. $380 for the modern console for the holidays. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
that's great. Super.
With the option to get a disc drive later when you have the money.
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
That's good shit. Let's see. So, and then the last Sony story we had is there's this Amazon show called Secret Level, where they're going to be highlighting different video games. Stuff like Pac-Man, Armored Core, Mega Man, Spelunky, Outer Worlds, or Unreal Tournament. But there's an episode for Concord.
Right.
Because it was made before the game came out. And they were
continuing to bet that hard.
Yep. They were betting real hard. And then they decided Sony is going to remove it from sale after 11 days. And then this episode is still happening. What was the?
I'm stoked. I think it's great. I want to find out what this game is because I wasn't gonna play it.
I mean, I
love it. It's awesome. I love that they're gonna keep showing this. I love this.
Oh my god! Just the way that Castle Super Beast described this is a stillbirth baby shower.
Oh, good god! That's a choice.
That's I mean, it's kind of what it is. Like
I don't know, man. There's something to be said about like the amount of games that people put their heart and soul into that end up not even being released, and due to NDAs and all that, like don't even get to see the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an interesting little kind of example of like, here's just a peek of that coming out. I know this game was out for 11 days, but no one fucking played it. And so
I kind of regret not playing it.
I know.
I kind of regret not playing it just because I can be like, yeah, I played it, and here's the scoop. So
we had split screen co-op. Maybe we can get a physical disc.
No, it's all server based. It's all online. So it's
motherfucker. All right.
So yeah, it's the creator of this episode says I don't feel bad that it's part of the show because I think that it's an episode that turned out really well, and you can see the kind of potential this world and characters. If it's the remaining vestiges of the product, I hope the developers feel it's in some way worthy, just a little bit of the blood, sweat, and tears they put into it. And yeah, that show's out on the 10th of December. So
is it showing all at once, all episodes?
I have no idea, but
okay.
I'm very curious to see that episode and what is going on there, man.
Right.
Oh,
it's like the final word on what this game was,
yeah,
and what it could have been. So I can't help but be curious.
I'm very much looking forward to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lucy.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you think that they had any inkling of this possibly happening for this episode? Do you think that they're going to mention anything or like have
no, because
add something at the beginning? Just so you know, this game is no longer on the market.
They have a little this was of the times. You must understand. You must understand the use of language of be prepared for more Concord in its proper context.
I think that I would hope that's the case. I don't think it is. I think that there's apparently that they have finished. They were finishing the episodes like right around the time of the release of Concord. So who knows? But we'll see. I'm gonna watch it.
It would be really bad if it was like an open-ended ending for the Concord episode. It's just like
that would have been rough.
Enjoy.
Also, to answer your question, Aaron, if they're all coming out at once, it's 2 episodes a week for 8 weeks, but it's only 15 episodes, so that 8th week is only that finale. So
interesting.
If it wasn't Amazon, I really hate subscribing to these streaming services. Just drop me the whole season. But I like having to get my packages, so I'll stick with Amazon.
All right, so
I'm endlessly curious. We're at least some of us are gonna have to watch this Concord episode. If we're not gonna watch the full thing, I'm definitely watching the Concord episode.
We should do weekly watch parties of this show. Just watch party in the Discord.
I'm down.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going to actually bring a lot more attention to Concord is the fact that a number of organizations and groups like ours are going to be paying attention to this. And we're going to be like, oh, either this would have been a really cool game or, oh, I'm so glad that they actually took it off.
Well, so that's going to poison the conversation. Is it's going to be a lot of people who are looking for opportunities to shit on the game, which it's an easy target for that. So that'll poison genuine discussion of whatever's shared in this. But the genuine discussion will also happen, so it'll be interesting.
I look forward to this.
I look forward to the book or documentary that comes out about this game in 10 years, 15 years. Well, what the fuck
I don't
happened?
know. That's going to be like a small chapter as part of like a larger, like Sony on top.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know.
All right.
It's gonna be part of the chapter that's about like them going into live service and everything crashing. The chapter will largely be about dealing with Bungie, and then there'll be just this offshoot about Concord.
Just this project that Bungie and Herman Holst really liked. Also, Aaron, not gonna lie, you make me want to get a Coke right now, man.
Hang on, no. I'm not. I gotta turn the label. All right.
There you go.
Product placement.
All right.
Coke, sponsor us.
Tastes like aspartame.
Yeah, you're drinking a Coke Zero. There you go.
Coke Zero. So who knows what kind of cancer I'm ingesting? Whatever.
All right. So, hey, this week Xbox
toenail cancer.
This week Xbox started a new ad campaign, and we're gonna play the commercial they ran for it. Right now.
Yeah. Oh boy, here we go.
It leads into a broader discussion about a lot of news from them this week. So, yep.
Let's go.
Oh, right, I gotta turn the volume up.
It's just music.
Oh, it's just music, okay.
Looking forward to getting demonetized this week. Gonna be fun.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, they've been cracking down a lot on that lately. I've been noticing.
Like
these big platforms got to get their money.
Where my money? Where my money?
Yeah.
So they're running an ad campaign, being like, look, an Xbox is not just an Xbox. A TV is an Xbox. A computer is an Xbox. A Steam Deck or portable gaming PC are Xboxes. Laptops are Xboxes. Basically saying what we've been said on this show for, at this point, 5 years. That they don't give a shit about selling you a console. They give a shit about you subscribing to Game Pass.
Right. And now that it's clearer than ever, like, you really shouldn't get an Xbox. Like, all right, it's time to go full hog in that other direction.
You know, and I think that part of that is like, I mean, you can still own an Xbox if you're already in the ecosystem and you have years of a library there. Like that's fine. Like, because I was like, I watched this commercial and I thought about it and I'm like, why the fuck would you buy an Xbox now? And I'm like, I guess like if you were an Xbox guy through the 360 and the Xbox One, and like maybe even early this generation before this Switch was super apparent, like, well, fuck, dude, you have almost 20 years of games on a platform that you would be giving up.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing, is how many games do you have in that ecosystem? And yes, as we've talked about numerous times, Sony won that war in terms of the amount of people having a certain amount of games in an ecosystem, but that doesn't mean Xbox doesn't have one as well.
It's just it's the amount of people is obviously smaller. Like, it's a significantly smaller amount of people, but it's still there.
The question is that community, is that group of people enough to keep buying consoles enough that they at least break even, or like, you know, a small amount of losses from making the consoles in the first place?
I think yes, because there's two things in my mind. One, those people are all still buying games on Xbox, and they get 30% of each game sale that's not theirs. So there's that.
Right.
So, you know, if they buy, like, Monster Hunter Wilds on Xbox in February, great, Microsoft's getting 30% of that, as all stores do. And then I think the other piece of it is they're going to be putting out a portable soon, which we're going to be talking about that later on. And as part of that portable, it's like, well, if they're selling a portable, they're probably making a profit on it, and they're also selling games on
That's it. That's right, boys.
Oh,
Marble
hey.
Cool.
Thank you for the follow, Marble Score. Also, everybody, hey, if you're not doing it yet, you should follow us and use your Twitch Primes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you should subscribe. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcast or any of the other podcast services, you should also subscribe and whatnot.
Which I didn't know, and now I'm a host.
Will you become a host? Maybe. We don't know.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. So.
And you can go back and watch me a factory reset my PC live on stream.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So
the fact that they're making a portable hardware means they still believe in hardware.
I'm actually really surprised.
9-month streak.
Oh my god, 9 months. God damn.
Hey,
Thank you.
my brother. Thank you.
But it's taken them a long time to decide to finally do a portable.
Yeah, I think it's because we talked about this on a Game Cave episode where we think that portables are going to be more popular than ever, and portables are going to be the future of most of the industry. So I think they're getting a head start on that. In fact, I think Sony is kind of fucking themselves right now by only having the Portal and not having a dedicated handheld.
I agree and disagree on that aspect. Only because, I mean, I have one. I absolutely love it. Doesn't matter where I'm at. If I have internet, the thing works beautifully. Now, as far as not having internet, that's where I'm like, you needed to, you had the PSP, or no, the Vita was the one with the cell signal. I mean, that could be an option for the Portal as well. But all in all, I would like a dedicated Sony handheld. I would totally get that.
My problem with the Portal is my problem with the Game Pass streaming, which is like, I am someone who notices input lag a lot, like instantly. And that's where the Portal falls apart for me. Is there's going to be some level of input lag. Damn, we got a busy chat today. Hi, Nekon. Welcome to the show.
Oh.
So,
hello, Nova. How's my son?
So
he's adopted. He's a cat.
Ah, okay. But back to this story is so Microsoft though in general is like, yo dog, if you own an Xbox, we're happy, we're gonna continue to support you. But you're kind of not our focus anymore, neither are consoles. We're going to continue to make a good console. Like a workable console. But, otherwise, if you don't have an Xbox, you don't need to buy one. Just use our services. Use our Game Pass.
Yeah.
On your phone, your laptop, your deck. So, yeah, like that's where they're going. And it's made it so, hey, guess what, Microsoft? I'm probably not buying an Xbox until my Series X dies a painful death. Yeah.
And it doesn't affect them at this point now. Yep. Now that they've taken this full-on approach. Yep. They're just like, all right.
I've got two things about the whole this is Xbox thing. One, I love what they're doing with it. It really does work for what they've been working for. I was a little surprised to see the Steam Deck, but only because that's a community that I haven't gotten into yet. But now that I'm upgrading the PC and everything, playing more on the PC game side, and yes, converting to the PC Master Race side of gaming, because it is a lot more fun now that I have the hardware for it. Now, the second, damn it, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. Which is funny because, like, as I get older, I shift away from PC because I'm just like, this is a giant time sink that I don't want to fucking bother with.
Oh, I remember what it was.
Go ahead.
So, I will be getting an Xbox, but not in your conventional ways.
Okay. All right.
I go to the arcade a lot.
Okay.
Right.
I do the ticket machines. I get those little packaged cards.
Oh, I know where this is going.
They have exactly an Xbox and the rewards. It's 80,000.
You're gonna save up all those tickets until you get 80K, and then you're gonna cash it all in and like, I want that Xbox, motherfucker.
Exactly. That's how I'm gonna do it. Ultimately, I'm spending more for the Xbox.
But that's what they want.
But you get the fun of the arcade.
Exactly what they want.
Exactly.
You're paying.
Last time I was in there, I had a group of people watching me, and they're like, "How do you get all those cards?" It's timing. You got to get timing down, and all. Like my dad taught me this about all those old arcade games. Mm-hmm. It's all about timing and patterns.
So quick.
You have a full set of cards already.
Which Xbox are they doing? The S or the X? Which one they're giving away? They're giving an X.
Wow.
Oh, okay. He's gonna be getting the big black one. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
All right. So, with this, there was an ad campaign. People were not happy about this. Which a lot of people also commented with a lot of those games going to PS5 now. People are like, yeah, PS5 is also an Xbox.
Right, yeah.
By that logic, yeah, absolutely.
So, this is Phil Spencer's, the head of Xbox's thoughts on this. It's an interesting topic because we look at the brand as we're changing the brand. It means something different. It literally was just a box when it first launched. It was the direct Xbox. When it's grown into now is more accessibility. Xbox just isn't one device. Xbox is on your smart TV. Xbox is on your PC, your phone, and we're in the middle of that transition. So yeah, they acknowledge some fans would be turned off by the campaign. Some people long for the simplicity of a single box, single platform, single game, he said. Before insisting today's largest games are bigger than any individual platform. I mean, yes, I said this on that Portable episode also, as we are going to eventually run into a platform-agnostic future, where just everything comes out on everything, and it's just whatever your preference is.
I mean, in terms of, like, the physical box war, that console war, like, Microsoft's kind of lost that, and Sony's kind of taken up the mantle.
Yep, and Nintendo, the thing is like, once we have, like, everything going on every platform, like Spider-Man launching day and date on Xbox and PC, what's gonna happen is Nintendo is still gonna be that old Japanese soldier on the island.
Right.
Like, it's 1970, the war is over. No, it's not.
I mean, part of the reason Sony got here is because they've maintained exclusivity on certain things, so, yeah. I could see them hanging out for a while.
Oh yeah, but you see them starting to crack with the PC stuff, and to be fair, I think the way they are handling the PC stuff is fucking brilliant. I think it's so smart because they do their launch on the PS5, and then however many months later, typically 18 months to 2 years, in the case of Ghost of Tsushima, 4 years. They say, hey, we'll move this to PC now. And so the people who are like, never PlayStation, I'm never going to buy a PlayStation ever, still buy the game. They still buy the game, and they make money on the back end. And then you get a couple of people who are such big fans of whatever that game is that they're like, fuck, for the next one, they're going to buy a PlayStation so they can play it as early as possible.
And as Xbox as a hardware competitor continues to diminish, like, I can see a world where the amount of time you wait diminishes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I could see them doing PC ports. I think Spider-Man, the only reason it got a port after 16 months or so was because of the fact that the Marvel license is so expensive. But I could...
yeah.
But I could totally see, like, other games, like Ghosts of Yotei, cutting the wait down from 2 years to 1 year. I can totally see that.
Sure.
And it, so... oh, well, thank you, Dwarf Wolf Dad. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, I think that's going to happen, and I think this is fine. And we brought that up on that Game Cave episode where it's like, yeah, dude. The platforms are becoming more agnostic than ever, and pretty soon you're gonna have a portable and you're gonna have a console or a PC, and they'll play almost everything. That is what's gonna happen.
Future I hope for.
You know, except Nintendo games. Nintendo's gonna tell you to fuck off until they're dead.
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have your PC and or your console. You're gonna have your portable handheld, and then you're gonna have whatever Nintendo is making.
I think it's gonna take a little while for Sony to crack on that. I want to see what's happening in 2028.
I mean, you can already play although the PlayStation games like later on an ROG Ally.
Later, yes.
Steam Deck, it depends on what game because they're being bitches with their whole launcher thing. But
Well, right, yeah.
So what you're saying is maybe hold off on getting a Steam Deck.
I am saying that let me talk to you about the Steam Deck later in the show because there's a lot of stuff. I own a Steam Deck. I love my Steam Deck. Played it on Halloween when I was chilling at a friend's house. It's a great device. However, there's some important caveats that you should know about where getting an ROG Ally X may be a smarter choice. But I'll go over that later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So next up is they talk about that, but then they also say, "Dog, we're not."
That's right, boys.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Pow Pow.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Pow Pow says, "I can't wait for the Soulja Boy console to blow up and blow them all."
Hell yeah!
Oh Lord,
damn right. The true king.
With all these comments, I need to start finding points in the show to read them all at once. Anyway, so
we're jumping from one topic to another. This is the perfect time.
Yeah, so they say even though that's no longer a box, they're committed to console still. They are very committed to consoles. They're continuing to make consoles. It's just we are expanding. We are going to be in multiple places. We definitely do more consoles and other devices in the future. Look, they've teased this handheld to death, and Phil Spencer is a big fan of the ROG Ally, so...
Yep, that makes sense.
Hey, guys, we're going to get an Xbox Portable.
Yeah.
Which, to be
it's
fair...
just a matter of when.
To be fair, if the Xbox Portable plays all my 360 games that I've digitally downloaded, that'd be pretty sick. And then it doesn't...
Be sick.
And then it solves the problem I have with the ROG Ally and the Legion Go, where they run full-fat versions of Windows that are bloated and garbage. So, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. People who are the console fans, don't worry. Calm down. It's going to be okay. You're going to get your Xbox.
It's going to be okay for the foreseeable future. I think the importance of the standard box itself is going to diminish over time, but it sounds like they're going to continue to find ways to get you to be able to play your Xbox games, if nothing else. If your love is specifically for the console, that's just not Xbox's realm anymore. It can't be.
I think that if you want to keep playing your copy of Burnout Revenge from the 360 or Skate 3, they will find a way to bring you that somewhere. It's
right.
Just a matter of how. So, speaking of Xbox consoles, though, they were asked about doing a Pro console. Right. And Phil Spencer says, though times have changed, and while he failed to definitely rule out releasing a more powerful Xbox Series console, it does not sound likely. We think about hardware where that we can create unique value for our players or creators on our platform. We don't need to do incremental hardware for our own benefit. Does a new device really give you a unique experience in some way? It's less like the old days where going from the original Xbox to the 360, that was standard def to high def. Now it's harder to show the benefits. And then he doubled down by saying, to reach new players, we need to be creative and adaptive to new business models, new devices, and new ways of access. We're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles. So...
yeah.
I think that, yes, I agree with that. I also think that the reason the Pro consoles kind of existed last time around, like the One X and the PS4 Pro, was because 4K became prominent. So they needed boxes that could do 4K mid-gen. But the current boxes can do 4K already, so it's kind of like the Pro model is only for enthusiasts. And like, if you would have asked me, yo dog, if you could change the PS5 Pro into like Vita 2, where it's like Sony's take on the Steam Deck or the Ally, I'd be like, give me that instead. Give me that instead right now.
Yeah.
So...
I'm also thinking that digital has had a big hand in this, because with digital, it makes it easier to just transfer your media to every platform you can.
Yeah.
It still looks great.
Absolutely. I'm going to be real. If PlayStation did a portable, I wouldn't be buying hard copy games anymore. PlayStation is the only console where I still buy hard copy games. I like my PlayStation collection. I like seeing my big shelf of 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know that many PS1 games. That's not really like a shelf. That's more like a small little thing in the corner. So
it's so wild to hear coming from you, the big physical hardware guy or physical software guy.
Oh, like that PlayStation is the only place where I'm really doing the box copies?
No, that you if they came out with a PlayStation Portable again, but you would jump over to that and stop buying the physical releases.
I really love portable consoles, man. What can I say?
that's just what wins out for you. I understand.
Dude, the Switch. I was a hardcore Nintendo physical person on the Wii U and on the Wii, and the Switch came out. I bought one physical game. My girlfriend gave me another physical game, and then it has been all digital since. I have 70 goddamn Switch games. They are all downloaded to the Switch. And
it's just convenient. Like, I understand.
It varies.
Yeah.
Well, so... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's like, it's actually funny you bring that up, because I got a little bit of nostalgia yesterday. My dad brought me some more of my stuff from back home. And in the box were my steel cases from editions that I bought special. I mean, some of them have discs in them, some of them don't, and I have no way to use them anymore. But they're still nice. Like I think my favorite one's my Doom, the original Doom.
There is something that is super nice and appealing of going into your office or your living room and seeing a fat shelf filled with movies and games. It is something that is pleasing to monkey brain. It is like, I love going over to my fucking media shelf and looking and seeing the 4K Blu-rays and seeing the PS4 and PS5 games and like picking one out, pulling it out, and putting it in. Like, there's something appealing about that. Comment in the chat, weren't the Pros and Slims meant to make them smaller and still be able to look better than the original? The Pros and Slims, there's two parts to that. From a marketing side, yes, it's like, here, we made a slimmer one, it looks nicer. From the manufacturing side, it was to make them cheaper to make, because they use less materials, and they use cheaper materials. Because typically what happens when they do a Slim is they shrink the process node. So, like, chips are made at different nanometers in size. So, like, for example, like, the base PS5, I think, was 7 nanometer, and now the Pro and the Slim are at, like, 4, to give you an example. So, it's to make shit cheaper for the consumer and the manufacturer, and to get people to buy a thing if they already have a thing. Or to maybe consider buying a thing again. So. Yep. There you go. Yeah, I think that the Pro, like, I think Sony is just running their same playbook again. They have, like, because last time they're like, we did VR, we're going to do VR again. We did a Pro, we're going to do a Pro again. Because, why wouldn't you when the PS4 was so wildly successful? And the PS5 is also more successful than the PS4 is as far as sales go. So, I would not be surprised if PS6 rolls around, they do a PS6 VR, and they do a PS6 Pro. Like, I would not be surprised if they run this playbook until it don't work no more.
Exactly.
For the time being, I mean, it is working.
Yeah, it's just it.
I mean,
the thing that Anthony and I have discussed, and we're going to do a whole game episode about this, is like we're finally starting to see the cracks in the gameplay. They're not huge, they're not problematic yet, but we're starting to see the cracks. Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking forward to that episode.
Yes. Yeah. No, Lucy, what were you saying?
oh no, you pretty much hit it on the head there.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, it's still
no, you're fine.
Yeah, it's just that, like, shit's getting too expensive to do things they want to do it. The audience is shifting, and, like, we're starting to see cracks to happen. So, anyway, one of our last two Xbox stories here is Phil Spencer says Avowed wasn't delayed due to quality concerns. We didn't move it because Obsidian needs more time. They wanted to give players' backlogs some breathing room, and they wanted to have it spaced out better on Game Pass. Which I say to that, yes, good, excellent. Continue to do this.
When was it originally supposed to come out?
It was supposed to originally come out in October. They pushed it to...
like right beside Black Ops and
Indiana Jones and Stalker, yes.
And Indiana... Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so
Good call.
Yeah, I think that's a great move. It's coming out in February. So yeah, they will... I don't know if they're doing anything in January, but they did another Crab Treasure in September. They did Black Ops in October. They did Stalker in November. They're doing Indiana Jones in December, and then Avowed in February. So they're doing the right thing to get people continue to sub to Game Pass. Here, every month, you're getting a cool fucking game. It's smart.
Yep.
And a new game. So, yep. I think it's
Hopefully
smart.
they keep that momentum up, because that's what they've been needing to do for a while now.
Yes. Let's hope they stay on track.
Yeah.
Let's hope they stay on track. I think Avowed looks awesome. It looks like a Bethesda game from when Bethesda was still talented. Yeah.
I mean,
To be honest, it's been largely under my radar. I didn't even know about it until you posted things.
Oh yeah, no. How did you enjoy Oblivion or Skyrim?
So I'm gonna be real honest. Never played Oblivion. I didn't have access to it. When that was big, Skyrim I've owned on every console and device, even my Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I've only made it like a couple hours in and got lost and got frustrated.
Okay.
That was my experience with Oblivion.
Amazing game. I plan on actually getting back into it, but I'm going to do it the VR style this time around. Just to keep my interest. It's not like the game isn't interesting. It's just a lot.
Yeah, it's a huge game. It's a massive game.
I have a habit of not wanting to read because I'm dyslexic. So then I don't read the notes or telling me where to go. So I spent like hours trying to figure out where I was supposed to go, and it was just down the trail, and then that's how I get the horse. And yeah, so eventually I'll get through, but yeah, that's probably fine.
I don't know if you'll like this game then, but hey, it's on Game Pass, so you can try it for nothing. Or
I have Game Pass.
Yep, there you go. You can. We can all try Avowed.
Yep.
So. Yeah, and speaking of Xbox hardware, I still think the Series S is amazing. That's a great entry point to get people into games. It's I think having a $250 to $350 box on the market is so important. Like for modern games, not just Nintendo games. All right. So the last story for Microsoft, and this is super funny to me. They're putting it on BattleNet. It's gonna be on BattleNet. It is gonna be on BNet. So for those of you who somehow don't know what BattleNet is, it is it was the Blizzard launcher for all the Blizzard games, and they also eventually tacked on a couple Activision games to it. But for some reason, Microsoft is like, "Yep, let's put Avowed on there." Don't know why, but they are. So So
they just sneak in like Xbox Game Pass, but they're not showing like Xbox symbols or anything. It's just all the games are somehow on BattleNet.
You see it right here in the left corner, included with Game Pass. So same thing with Diablo, even though I own my copy of Diablo. But StarCraft 2, yeah. So, one, I don't know why they're specifically doing it for Avowed. I guess maybe they think, well, a lot of nerds will probably like this game, and
they like this fantasy shit. Throw it up there.
Yeah, so
fuck.
Yeah.
Which they're right.
It's Microsoft, exactly. Microsoft's like, what do we have to lose? I don't know, do it.
I mean, hey, 7.5 million people play WoW every month. Maybe one of them will try this. So
this is a launcher we have, and we're not advertising our other games on this launcher. The fuck are we doing?
Yeah. So interesting thing with it though,
Mm-hmm.
you can turn WoW tokens into BattleNet balance, which means if you have enough gold in WoW, you can buy Avowed.
What
nothing.
the shit?
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
All right.
So
This is bound to happen eventually.
Back to
It's
gold
like I need to
farming.
start playing WoW. Fuck.
Yeah, in-game currency is was eventually going to be real currency. I mean, our money isn't real anyway, so
Right.
So this translates to roughly 1.3 million gold in WoW tokens, which, to give you a perspective on that, if you're a really dedicated farmer, you could probably get that in a couple weeks. Like, if you're a crafter and you're out fulfilling orders and you're making shit and selling it, yeah, you can probably get that in a couple weeks. And if you're smart about it, you could probably do it in a week. I know some people who just, they have, like, I have friends who have millions and millions of gold. Like, when I wanted to move servers, to move to a new guild for raiding, a buddy of mine's like, oh yeah, dude, I'll pay for it. I have, like, 30 million gold. You're good.
Good God.
Yep.
damn.
Yeah.
So the thing that about the launcher thing, though, because Pow Pow's right in the chat, but that's one thing that as progressing into PC gaming, that bothers me a lot. Because I after my whole PC debacle with the power source and starting over from new, I decided not to download GOG. I didn't download I just downloaded Steam. And then I tried downloading Battlefield 2042, and it still made me download EA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm never going to use it. Just integrate your systems, make it easy.
So that's never gonna happen.
No, I know that's wishful thinking on my end. But that is the naiveness of a console gamer.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
you power up the system, you launch the game.
Yep. Also, Pow Pow, you should play WoW. It's a really good game. It's a very good game.
No.
I play the Star Wars version.
SWTOR? you and Parker would get along. I played SWTOR for a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is just worse World of Warcraft. Okay, great. Super duper.
You just don't like the lightsabers.
I do like lightsabers. I love No More Heroes.
Lightsabers are one of the best parts.
Yeah, that's no, I'll stick with FF14.
Geez.
That's understandable. I like 14. That's just
that
14's good.
that is a very cool thing about these MMOs is there's one for everyone. I'm not big into WoW, so I play the Star Wars one. And if you're not into either one of those and you're a Final Fantasy fan, you've got Final Fantasy. They've also got Netherwinter, right? I've never played it, but I assume it's a lot like it's a D&D version.
And it's all distributed well against like the hardcore MMO like raid crowd versus the casual crowd, and they're serving different. There's enough that are serving different parts of the MMO group.
Yes, like I think that like my girlfriend's super into Guild Wars 2. Like that's her MMO. She plays Guild Wars 2 every single week. I have a lot of friends who play Final Fantasy. I currently, I'm a big WoW guy. It depends on what you're interested in, because like for example, like the best raiding experience in my mind is like Destiny 2. Like Destiny 2 raiding is so much goddamn fun. That shit. I know, Aaron.
If you're playing with people you can communicate with.
Yes, if you're playing with strangers with no microphones, that is the worst game ever made ever. But
right.
but
it's not a very fine line. It's a very fine line. Either it's a great game or it's the worst game ever.
If that actually does describe Destiny pretty well. Like, if you just strip away everything from Destiny and just boil it down to cool guns and raiding, it suddenly turns into the best game ever made.
Right.
You know, like, holy shit, Vault of Glass, still, highlight, love it. You know. Right.
Speaking of old MMOs, I'm still amazed that DC Universe is still going strong.
Oh, yeah, have you heard of, so... DC Universe is part of this Sony online MMO subscription. So Sony owns a bunch of MMOs, including DC Universe Online. And they have this subscription service that gives you a bunch of perks in a bunch of different MMOs, and DC Universe is one of them. Hold on, what is the name of this damn thing? I need to pull this up, because it blows my mind every time I think about it. It's like you get a bunch of perks in EverQuest 2 and DC Universe and EverQuest 1, and I think the last one is like Tribes, like Tribes 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like it's weird. It's very weird. Yeah, here we go, membership.
It is weird.
Yes, it's $15 a month, and it's PlanetSide 2, DC Universe Online, EverQuest 2, and EverQuest 1. You get a bunch of currency and, like, extra stuff. It's amazing.
Catering to that elder MMO gamer. Wow.
Yeah, just, yo, you want to play some EverQuest 2?
Or check out PlanetSide 2. What is going on over there?
Oh my god, I remember PlanetSide. I tried getting in that for the second time and just... It's like playing Magic the Gathering with experienced players and you're the noob.
So, you want
not a fun experience.
The interesting thing about EverQuest 2 is, like, that game came out, like, literally right before World of Warcraft did, but, like, I'm looking at the screenshots and I'm like, why does this look so much worse than WoW does now? And you're like...
Well, yeah.
Because it doesn't have 7 million people playing it and pumping money into it. This is like a Sony side project of a side project. You know, so...
The people that were there for EverQuest post WoW they're gonna be there for a while.
Yes. There is a whole audience of people who like thought WoW was way too casual and just moved and just stayed on EverQuest, which is super weird. Comment in the chat. I think Warframe is one of my favorite multiplayer games. Warframe's a sick MMO. But back to the thing you did, Aaron. Yes, WoW, by the standards of EverQuest or the MMOs of the time, was considered baby and for casuals. Vanilla WoW was. So I know that's a weird perspective now, because if you go play...
It absolutely is.
Yeah, like, I know that's, like, weird to hear now, but, like, yeah, the WoW was the casual MMO. But, yeah, so...
Very funny to hear in a paleo world.
Yes, absolutely. Very funny to hear even in a modern-day WoW world. Like, when you go look at, like, vanilla WoW, it's like, this shit is super punishing. Like, it's still an easy game, but it's like, yo, dog, if you die and there's not a graveyard close by, enjoy your 15-minute walk.
Yeah, fun. Good.
Hey, I'm going to pop out real quick. I'm going to just get a refill on my coffee.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, so we'll get to the next news story, though, which is, hey, dog, Half-Life 2 turns 20 yesterday. Half-Life 2 turned 20 on Saturday. Came out,
yeah.
And hey, World of Warcraft.
What games were like before Half-Life 2, and what games were like after?
And World of Warcraft turns 20 next week. So,
oh my God, what a impactful year.
Yep. And I believe next week also, and also last week Halo 2 turned 20, and Metal Gear Solid 3 and San Andreas turned 20 this year.
What a year.
Yep.
What a fucking year.
And this one just makes me mad, but Burnout 3.
Oh, God damn it.
So, Half-Life 2, it's celebrating its anniversary. They did a big update to the game to fix stuff to get it running better on modern computers and Steam Deck, like visual glitches and whatnot that have happened over time.
Mm-hmm.
They've added 3.5 hours of developer commentary in the game. Like, they have those in-game commentary tracks. Yep. And then they have included episode 1 and episode 2 as part of the game now. So like they're just when you finish Half-Life 2, it'll like automatically boot into episode 1, and then same thing with if you finish episode 1, it'll boot into episode 2. And you can change between them in the menu. It's a real quick load. So those are all the changes that they put out. And they also put out a 2-hour-long documentary about the making of the game, the stuff that was going on at Valve at the time, and then what happened afterwards with the episodes and the episode 3 stuff. So
that's really interesting.
Yes. So one, they nearly went bankrupt making Half-Life 2 because of a lawsuit from Vivendi. Which was an illegitimate lawsuit, like, is what you find out later. And then the other thing is they also had that thing where somewhat, like, they got hacked and an alpha build got leaked out onto the internet.
Oh, man.
And then that dude who did that got arrested by German police because he was also defrauding a bunch of financial institutions. But he actually but Valve at the time also crowdsourced an investigation because the FBI was looking into the guy, but Valve also asked their community, hey, if you could help us track this guy down. And he got in touch with Gaben saying like, look, so sorry, da 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 da. And he's like, yeah, cool. Wow, I'm so impressed you cracked our security. You should come out. And what they were planning to do is have the FBI arrest him the second he got off the plane. And then German police beat him to it because he was doing a bunch of shit to German banks. So
God damn.
Yeah.
What a story.
What a dude, right? Like, hacking into Valve, fucking doing crazy. Yeah, like, it's a wild person.
Yeah.
Real quick before I get into the episode 3 stuff and whatnot, can we talk about how different Gabe looks now? Put it up on the screen.
Yeah, pull him up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Gaben. That is modern day Gabe Newell. It looks
Santa
like
is living his sportiest life.
I was gonna say this guy looks like he's gonna sell me cocaine in Miami. This is what I was saying.
It's funny what happens when you have just a ridiculous amount of money. Like what happens with your taste in things. Like what led it to him thinking like, all right, these glasses. You know, I don't know. It's a very interesting choice.
I get the vibe that Gabe is a very practical person. So
sure.
I don't know. Maybe he's doing some stuff in his day-to-day life where, like, you know, seems like a good idea to wear these glasses. But then, like,
he's playing some hardcore pickleball later.
Yeah. But like the white outer shirt, and then you factor in like the slicked back hair. I'm like, this man looks like he is gonna sell me coke on a beach in Miami. Yeah, Gabe Newell, president.
Gabe feels out. Yeah.
Comment in the chat. I think Left 4 Dead series is my favorite game from Valve. That's an excellent question. Favorite Valve game? Fuck, dude. That's hard. Definitely not Counter-Strike. Definitely not Counter-Strike.
No. Sure. That's just not our bag.
Every time I try and play it, I'm just like, no, I don't know who this is for. But I would have to say it's either Portal 2 or Half-Life 2. I just don't know which one. Portal 2 or Half-Life 2.
As someone who did not experience Half-Life 2 at the moment it came out, like I personally don't hold it in high regard as far, because like I got to it after I had experienced the games that were like influenced by what it did, and so I came back to Half-Life 2. It's like, yeah, it's another game. That's cool. I like these physics. These physics I've seen in other games.
Yeah, because you first played Half-Life 2 in the orange box, right?
Right, exactly.
So it's 3 years later. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Portal.
So for me it's like Portal 1 specifically, just like this simple game that still like made you care about a box, that made you, it was a lot of fun, very interesting art style, nice pacing. It was not a long game and yet still took you on a ride.
That's fair.
And then you got Team Fortress doing like the Champions, the multiplayer thing before, or class-based, whatever you want to call it, but doing that, before the what we have today, and then Left 4 Dead, just like the what do they call it, the narrator, the
director,
like the concept of the director here is just this you got to get from point A to point B, and the director just knows how to throw shit at you to keep things interesting and fun like that.
Every time. Like, those maps are interesting every time you run them.
We play it every year, and it's done so well. It's enough to make you be like, oh God, oh no, oh God, oh God, oh no, and yet you're still like smiling and like, this is hell. We're gonna make it. We are going to make it. And there's still not a, by the end of it, you're still not sure if you're going to come out alive or not. But they make it work every time. And I honestly wish that technology was just in more games. Of like, there's this algorithm, there's this AI, I guess, like just like we're going to constantly keep you at this point of maximum fun and stress.
I think about like Half-Life 1 is a great game, but like that was a game that was impressive for the time, but is very unpolished now, even with the remake with Black Mesa. Half-Life 2 was a wildly impressive game when I played. Like I got it for Christmas that year. Like I got it as a Christmas gift, and I played the living shit out of it. And it was the most technically impressive game I'd ever seen in my entire life. And like, I played it earlier this year when I got my Steam Deck again, and dude, that game feels 15 years ahead of its release date. Like, Half-Life 2 is a game that when you play it, and you also keep in mind the context of this came out in 2004, you're like, this shit is witchcraft. This shit was so ahead of its time. I think the canal. My only complaint with that game is the canal section with the airboat lasts a little too long. That's it. That is my only complaint in an otherwise perfect goddamn game. So there's that. As for my favorite Valve game, like, I like Portal 1, but it's a little too simple. Like, it is a perfectly contained thing, but I wanted more of it in its ideas. And then
I think if we did not know of a Portal 2, like,
so I would probably have to say it I love Half-Life 2. Every time I boot up Half-Life 2 and go through it again, I'm like, shooters have barely evolved past this. It is wild.
Right.
Like, it is wild how fucking little shooter campaigns have evolved past Half-Life 2, a 20-year-old game. But then I also play Portal 2, and I'm like, this game is literally perfect. The pacing is perfect. The writing is perfect. The puzzles are super fun.
The voice acting is amazing.
Yeah, like, the characters are so likable, and there are all these little Easter eggs. And everything you said about Left 4 Dead is also true. But like Team Fortress, that fucking around stuff you do. Like, getting a group of like 6 friends on a Team Fortress team and just making weird shit happen is amazing. Like, I still remember when we were playing it on the 360 and we got 3 heavies and 3 medics and just bulldozed a team. Or like, all right, we're all going to make engineers and put turrets in the flag room.
Yep.
Just dumb shit.
I
like
want to go back and play that again.
We can. I was trying to get a TF2 night going during COVID, but no one wanted to go for it.
Yeah.
Shame on them. Where was I during this? Right. I was slaving away at a lumber mill that was considered essential.
Yeah, so they're doing it. So Half-Life 2 and its 2 expansions are free right now on Steam. Go get them, please. Those games are amazing.
Well, if you're gonna twist my arm about it,
yeah, it's cost you $0.
Yep.
Yes, free shit is always the best shit.
Yes, Left 4 Dead was my childhood, says Marble Score. Left 4 Dead was my teen years and my 20s and now my 30s because I play it every Halloween.
Yep. Still good.
But the last bit is we got some insight into episode 3 from this, and why episode 3 ended up being canceled. So, I'll do why it ended up being canceled, and then the shit that we got to, the other stuff that they got to see. So why it ended up being canceled is they took a break on pre-production with it to go work on Left 4 Dead because Left 4 Dead needed all hands on deck. And then when they got done with Left 4 Dead, they were like, shit, it's kind of a little too late to just do an episode, because an episode takes 18 months to 2 years to make. So shit, we can't just make another episode. So we might want to make Half-Life 3, but let's test making an episode. And that's kind of what happened. And they ended up doing some very interesting stuff in the testing for that. So like, it was going to be set in the Arctic because of the Borealis. So they made all this like goo tech that they ended up using in Portal, and they ended up making like a freeze gun that could like freeze Combine soldiers. And I'll see if I can get to the foot. Yeah, here's the footage of the goo monster that they had set up in a tech demo. You know, they call the demo area Blob Town. You see the creatures and whatnot that they have with that. So there's that. And then the other thing they showed, I'm trying to find the footage of the goddamn freeze ray, because that looked cool as shit. But it was just people, they needed hands on deck for Left 4 Dead. And then by the time they were done with Left 4 Dead and looking at episode 3 as well, they were like, we have been making Half-Life since 1998. And we've been making Half-Life 2 or things related to Half-Life 2, you know, for over 8 years at this point as well. We're tired. We're very fucking tired.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. Is they were fucking tired. They wanted to make and then Gabe said, but you know, if we're gonna make a Half-Life 3, we need to we want to do what we did with 2 and what we did with 1, where we like pushed a technical boundary and it is a tech showcase as well as an amazing video game. And they just don't know when that is yet or what that's going to be. So.
Right. Yeah. I know we were talking about VR being a potential thing, but they tried that with Alex, and they're still one of the best VR games out there.
It is the best VR game out there. It's not even a question.
So, but
you leave Mike walk around golf alone.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a sub. Hey, give it a sub,
hey, thank you so much.
So, yeah, there's, you know, and then the ending of Half-Life Alyx kind of changes what Half-Life 3 will be. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, so I will say one thing that did make me optimistic was at the end of the documentary, Gabe's like, we really want to, you know, push stuff to the limit. of what with Half-Life, and really make Half-Life an important tech demo, tech setup. So what we're and there's no shortage of things that are out right now that we could do with it. So they kind of hint at like, look, we're working on ideas for a Half-Life 3, guys. We're doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
They're
just waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, they're waiting for the right tech, waiting for the right moment. So yeah, and
okay, that's cool that they said that.
Yeah, like they're so, and I'm excited. I'm very optimistic. I have a lot of faith in Valve. I realize that, and they even said, like, look, we want to make games that we want to play, and the reason we've had such a focus on multiplayer is we like playing multiplayer games with each other.
Fair.
Also, I forgot to mention they added workshop support to Half-Life 2 with the new update. So if you want to play Half-Life 2 with a bunch of easily installable weird mods, that's a thing you can do now.
Cool. Hell yeah.
So, last piece of news from this anniversary stuff they're doing is there is a very famous book that chronicled the development of Half-Life 2 called Raising the Bar. It's been out of print for a very long time, so now copies of it sell for like $300.
Great. Right.
So they are doing a reprint of that, finally. And then they are also adding a new section to it for all the Half-Life 3 stuff. So it's going to have a bunch of never before seen and heard stuff about Half-Life Episode 3. So
nice. Love it.
Yeah. So the last quote regarding the Half-Life 3, I think Half-Life represents a tool we have and a promise made to customers to capitalize on innovation opportunities to build game experiences that haven't been involved previously. And I think there are no shortage of those opportunities facing us as an industry right now. So,
yeah. We'll keep waiting. There's plenty of games now.
There are plenty of games. Also,
I can
Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just gonna say I can never get past my backlog. I don't have enough time.
I'm never
in my
gonna
life
do it.
to
It's never
my backlog.
Yeah. Never. Like I would literally I would have to become unemployed and have to be streaming full time to even come close to finishing my backlog. To even have a chance. So, and also I end up replaying games I really love, like Half-Life 2, so.
Exactly.
So,
That's fair.
Alright, well, that's, we got two news stories snuck to me, at the buzzer beater after the docket was made, so we'll go over those real quick.
To be fair, I was having issues with Discord. I tried to get back to you about like 6 p.m. yesterday, but did not work well. And then I was snooping down Twitter and I saw IGN stories. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the first one is we're going to handle M's. Gamers are mixed about the Game Awards allowing DLC to win Game of the Year awards. So they are allowing expansions to be in the Game of the Year argument. What they said, quote, are DLCs, expansion packs, and remakes and remasters eligible? Game Awards aims to recognize their best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLC, remakes, and remasters are eligible in all categories if the jury deems that the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. Factors such as newness of the content and its price/value should be taken into consideration. We had this argument multiple times at the Gamer Access.
Yep.
And I agree with Keeley on this one, where if there is enough stuff and new ideas and content here, sure, why not?
Right.
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, what are they considering as a DLC, though? Is it just like a extra level, or that everyone just loves, or is it an actual like massive part of the story, like Phantom Liberty for Cyberpunk? Because that would be my only issue.
So I think that knowing journalists, it means stuff like Phantom Liberty or, you know, like a WoW expansion or like stuff that's like big. Stuff that has a lot of content and things of that nature would be my guess.
I mean, that's understandable. I mean, I don't see why they don't just do DLC of the year.
I think they do have a list to add on content of the year, but like I think there are cases where it's like a piece of DLC is so big that it is basically a game. Like I've been playing World of Warcraft for 20 years. Those are expansions, are their own game basically. Right. That's how big they are. I remember back in 2016 we had a very rigorous debate regarding the Witcher expansions that came out and World of Warcraft Legion about this exact topic. Yeah. Comments in the chat. I literally have an event where I do a spin a wheel of games I haven't played, and I play until an hour is over. I die, and when chat votes on a new game. Isn't a DLC supposed to be add-ons to the original game? I don't mind remasters. Like if a game had DLC that basically add more content to the game, like Fallout 4 did with Fall Harbor, I wouldn't mind too much. I think that's the intent. Like I think that's the intent here is like, you know, it needs to be big enough. Like, yeah, I don't really want the current season of Tekken to be nominated for Game of the Year. But, you know, what I do want is a case like, you know, hey, we made this expansion, and this expansion is basically a game. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. You know, like, would you would consider like Street Fighter 4 Ultra as opposed to Street Fighter 4? That's its own game. Would you say that?
Totally. They add,
and when you think about like that's just building off of 4, there's a lot of content and a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So considering that, apply that logic to other games.
Yeah. Well, like it's, you know, like, and I think that happens consistently, and not to mention most sequels are just building off of the original, so there's a new campaign. Like you look at the Yakuza games, and outside of like, you know, when they do a big shift, like with Infinite Wealth and add a new location, these are in the same locations, guys, every fucking time. So it's not even like, you know, so are you not going to nominate Yakuza 0 because it's in the same location as Yakuza 5? Of course not. That'd be dumb.
I don't want to get to a point where it's like you do not qualify for Game of the Year unless 60% of your game is new assets or anything like that. Like I think that's necessary.
Like, yo, dog, if you
pulling something from sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, we were talking about this last week with the Sony conversation. But like the additional, the DLC for Infamous 2, that would be a good consideration too, because it was like 60%, well over 60% new assets to the game, just same environment. Instead of the lightning powers, you had vampire powers and different fighting mechanics as well.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as assets are concerned, I think there was a lot of
it was
reused stuff because it was the same open world.
Yeah, same.
Oh, yeah.
But like, it's still like quite altered the game quite a bit.
Yeah, like, and I think that's what you really need to keep in mind. Like, Shadow of the Erd Tree, you could have put that out as its own fucking video game. With how big that game is, how many bosses there are, how big that zone is. Yeah, it's not as big as the original Elden Ring. Like, totally not. But like, Shadow of the Erd Tree is so goddamn big that it very well could have been its own game. They could have repurposed it and made it its own game. And then, you know, the gameplay in it is fantastic. So, I think this is fine. I think it's case-by-case basis, you know, which...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to have this conversation again when they announce who, you know, who's all in the categories, who's nominated.
I totally think this discussion is because of Rebirth and Erdtree. Those are the two reasons why I think we're having this conversation. It is Rebirth and Shadow of the Erdtree are going to get some people salty. Rebirth because they don't understand how much shit they've changed, and then Erdtree because it's, it is an expansion. Yeah.
I don't, which is interesting to me because I think both of those, clearly have enough to be their own thing.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, it requires you to get Elden Ring to get the expansion, but still.
Okay, so comment on chat. Why don't we on Twitch just make our own game awards? This way we can make it our own liking from the people who actually play these games. We do every year. Everyone who works on this podcast gives their top 10 games of the year.
Some of us are already working on that list. Am I wrong, Paige? Am I wrong?
Yeah, yes, you are correct. I keep notes for every game I play. So.
Oh, I should probably do that.
Yeah. So, and then I think these journalists do play those games. Like, we worked in that field for a while. We can tell you a lot of shit, and I've been to 3 E3s. I can tell you what goes down. It's not as nefarious as people make it seem. It's actually very fucking boring.
It's as it turns out, when you get a group of people together and that group does not perfectly align with the people at large, it's going to be different, and that can suck, especially when there's this air of legitimacy with the Game Awards that we, for whatever reason, don't prescribe to other lists. But I think the solution is to just keep your head on straight and be like, okay, so the journalists and the people at the Game Awards like this. That's fine. That does not ascribe more value to one thing or another. People are out here playing these games themselves, and that's who you're interacting with, not the journalists.
And
it's fine.
And this is something that we've always brought up in regards to our own content and people we know, is our reviews are not the final word. If you disagree with us, that's okay. Because I hate the term objective review because you can't make one. We've gone over this before where it's pow pow. Maybe I have no faith after hearing after Dark Souls, that every new game after it was the Dark Souls makes me not think highly of game journalists. I think that there was a lot of games, I think there definitely was a very long period of time of any game that was difficult got put into that category. But I don't think, and I think they beat that to death. But that's not uncommon when you go on Twitch either, and you find people on Twitch who are like, oh my god, this game is so hard, it's like Dark Souls. It's okay.
I do see his point though, because even before doing this stuff with you guys, I loved listening to a lot of different game casts, but I got to a point where I started seeing some rhetoric with a couple of the journalists that you like this game, but you're shitting on the same type of game that had the same mechanics and calling that bad, but you love this one. And then later on, their tone just absolutely changed out of nowhere.
So I can attribute that. I can attribute that to a couple different things. If you can't give me a specific example of that, which is
IGN is one of my biggest issues.
Well, here's the thing though, is IGN is not a hive mind. Okay, so let's say you give Aaron and I 2 games to review, right? And they're very similar in a lot of ways, but we have different opinions on it, and that's how you get those differences in review, because reviews are opinion pieces. So, let's say IGN gives Horizon a glowing review, which is essentially an Ubisoft open world game. So let's say I don't know the editors there now. I know 2 dudes there now, but let's go pretend back in the day and okay, Greg Miller gave Horizon a 9 out of 10, and he says it's a fucking amazing game. And then Max Scoville plays Watch Dogs 2, which is a very similar experience in terms of like open world game with all this crap in it. And he gives it a 6. It's like, that's not them being inconsistent, that's they have 2 different editors reviewing the game and doing the coverage of the game. Because
we have a bad tendency, not just in video games, but just news in general, where we don't say it like we believe it, but we make it sound like we believe the New York Times is a singular entity that like thinks, and that's not how it works. They are businesses, and they will have people with different opinions saying things. And if you're looking for like a consistency, like, does IGN hire someone who's a complete fucking idiot? Probably. Yeah.
There's been
they've interviewed me before.
Oh no!
Like I'm saying,
the greatest delegitimacy.
Oh no! But like I was saying, is like before doing this stuff with you guys, you know, that is kind of a common mindset behind it. That I've noticed, like, because yeah, sure, I've been wanting to do like gaming talk cast before and be like, oh, I'm gonna do it differently. But then you find yourself trying to be like, oh, okay, you know, I get why this person is thinking this while they're playing it, and then okay, and it's starting to make more sense when you're when you're actually doing it as an invested, not just a casual gamer having an opinion about. Oh wait, I love that game. How do these guys hate it?
Well,
they have to review game after game after game, and much like the casual gamer complaining, well, all Assassin's Creeds are the same, Bronson. You know, I still love every single one of them, and you know, yeah, I have an issue with a little bit of that, but it's what it is,
and this
to an extent.
And this is why we always tell people, go look at if you're going to read reviews or you're going to watch reviews, be it on Twitch, YouTube, IGN, GameSpot, wherever, read the byline. Who wrote it? Who wrote it? Who wrote the review? Who did the video? And, like, see if your tastes align with that person. Because, like, okay, I gave AstroBot a glowing review. I think AstroBot's one of the best games of the year. But then if you look at my review history, you can see I gave Mario Odyssey a glowing review back at the Gamer Access. I gave Mario 3D World a glowing review. It's like, oh, he really likes well-made 3D platformers. That's not inconsistent. But if you look at, like, let's say someone else took that review and they gave, like, AstroBot, like, a 3 out of 5 and thought it was okay, but we are at the same outlet, you're like, oh, why are these 3D platformer reviews so different? And I think that's, you know, so read the byline, man. Like, that's my first piece of advice. And I don't want to get people caught in, like, a media echo chamber, but, like, I would say, you know, go find people whose tastes, as far as reviews go, align with yours. And that can happen anywhere. That can be at a big outlet like an IGN or a VGC. That can be smaller stuff like us. That can be...
It can be just a streamer.
That can be a dude. Yeah, like Maximilian Dude.
I fully admit I've been caught in the same situation as a streamer. I have glowing reviews about something. Oh my god, I don't know why anyone's hating this game. And I'm like the only one that's loving it. I mean, I know I'm not the only one that absolutely loves the Marvel Avengers game, because we've talked about it on here. But everyone shit on that game, and I absolutely loved it. I get were the certain characters not as fun to play? Sure. Spider-Man's never going to be as good as he is in his own video game.
Yes.
But Captain America's combos are easy enough. We have Batman, who can be replicated a lot. I mean, he throws batarangs. Those are ninja stars that can be translated to anything. He's got martial arts. That's easy enough to do. But you get a guy swinging around and, you know, everywhere. Like, literally everywhere, which is gross.
I just want to tell you, I see what you're doing here. You took this conversation, and now we're talking about Marvel's Avengers, and you're trying to get me to suck in and talk about Marvel's Avengers, and I'm not going to do it.
You're going to do it, and you're going to like it.
That game was good. They should not have done live service. They didn't need it.
I agree.
There's a lot. Look, man. You're a couple years late to this party, but we talked about that game to death when it came out.
And I'm still
sure
working on
did.
the platinum. I am one trophy away from my platinum, and I'm gonna do it again on the PC.
Oh God. Oh God.
So
why?
Anyway, so yeah, like, and I think that is something that's really hard for people to get by, or they'll just read like. So IGN is a perfect example. IGN's reviews get dogged on constantly, and I feel sometimes it is unfair. Here's why. So, Pokemon, what was it, Omega Ruby? That was the IGN Too Much Water review, right?
Right.
I want to say, yeah. So, people, they didn't actually read the full text of that review. They saw the pros and cons list, and they saw Too Much Water, and they said that this is dumb, and then memed on it. But if you read the review, it's like, yeah, a lot of these environments are really samey. And it's all islands and water. But people didn't, and there's too much water Pokemon. It's all water Pokemon. And it's like, but, if you just see the pros cons list, yeah, you're going to think that's dumb. Because, no one wants to sit down and read a full review. No one wants to sit down and watch a 5 to 10 minute review. Because everyone has the attention span of a fucking, ADHD squirrel, it feels like these days.
Ouch.
I didn't say you. Call yourself out there.
It's very interesting, I think, that we seem to care about the opinions of journalists, but we don't even actually sit down and read anything beyond, the plus minus final grade, and then move on.
Yes, and it's super dumb. It's super dumb. It is this thing that is so, and it's frustrating because like we used to write reviews. There was a point in my life where I was writing 4 or 5 reviews a month, and yeah, it's a lot of work, dude. But
yeah. Considering I barely have the habit of getting through a single game, I still haven't beaten Black Ops 6's campaign.
It's dope. You should. But
I know.
But like, that was way back in the day. But and even then, you would get people who wouldn't read the full review. They would just see the score and get mad. I gave Modern Warfare 3, like the original one in 2011, a 7. I think I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And I said, yeah, it's a good game, but it's not better than these 3 other shooters that came out this year, and it's over in like 4 hours and has some problems. And dude, there are people who got big fucking mad in those comments about giving
Call
that game
of Duty's like biggest hardcore fan base. It doesn't matter what game it is; they will always attack everything.
Yeah, so
but
it's
as somebody that's loved those campaigns, I agree with your statement because it was a little short. It wasn't as fun as the campaign from 2.
Yeah, and that I agree with. Yeah, so it's, and then I think people don't examine their media deeper as well, and that's another thing where like a lot of games journalists are looking at the lens of this stuff through the eyes of a critic as well as a consumer product, and that runs into a weird place of like, it's like, okay, you're reviewing this as a piece of art, but this person's looking for essentially a buyer's guide, and then that's its weird own thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
The way our relationship with journalists is a weird one that really needs to be re-examined, because like in that post, like we talked about this a number of times, but in that post Gamergate world, people were like, all right, I'm just going to listen to streamers, not journalists. But I think there's still people caring about what journalists say because they perceive it as like, if it doesn't get a good score, like people won't go look to see if it actually looks like it's fun or not. They'll just not buy it. And then like that discourages the creation of more games like that. And so like fighting for the score in a world that I feel like does not care as much about what journalists think, it becomes like fighting for the future of this game you like. And it's like, I don't know, man.
And then, you know, you get the problem of sometimes Twitch streamers they don't have a thorough examination of a game in a lot of cases, and like play it for like 2 hours and like, this is dumb, and then turn it off and never look at it again, or have some of the most half-baked takes in the universe because they're not critically thinking about the game. They're just like, they're dude.
They're just playing video games, you know. Yeah. They're not being paid to be like this deep thinking person. They're just going to play the video game, and if they love it, great. If they don't, then okay, we're moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of brought that up when I was talking about Skyrim.
Yeah.
I don't disagree that it would be a great game. I had my own issues that were my fault. The game's still amazing. It's sold brilliantly. But I kind of sucked at it. That was my fault.
Yes, and I think that's something that like really needs to be considered when looking at individual streamers as well, which is why you'll notice on this show, if I only play a little bit of a game, I said, well, I only play like 2 hours of it, but this is my opinion of it. Like, versus, you know, you'll see people on Twitch play a game for like 3 hours and then put a review out on their YouTube channel. And you're like, oh, okay. So like that those are kind of the problems that you run into there, or you end up, you know, that there's a also I missed this comment earlier. If they are hire idiots, I'm applying. They didn't hire me, so I don't know. Maybe they don't hire idiots. Maybe
there's a certain bar. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so it's, you know, and I think that like journalism from a news coverage in games is important, and I think reviews. But I think it's also important to recognize that reviews are essentially opinion pieces as well. That they're allowed to have a different opinion from you as well.
Right. They have to be. So you have to find people that talk about the games that you're interested in. And whether you agree with them or not, it's about like what they say, what it is they say about the game that helps you decide whether it's going to be for you or not.
Right. Like if I come on this show and I shit talk Western RPGs, that's not like you should probably still look into buying it because I don't like most Western RPGs. I didn't particularly care for The Witcher. I didn't particularly care for the old Dragon Age games.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but if I come in here and I say, yo, this shooter is sick, maybe consider it, because I play a lot of those and I like shooters. You know, yo, dog, Titanfall 2 is sick. You should play it. You know?
Right.
I can't believe that the unicorn scene didn't capture your imagination.
Let's see. I've been playing a lot of TCG Card Shop Simulator, says Still Chaos King.
That game is taking off, and I've been even considering getting it.
Yeah,
just to try it.
I was considering picking it up when Ethan was gushing about it the other day. All right, so we're gonna move on to what we've been playing. Or no, not what we've been playing. God damn it, we have one more news story.
Okay,
my bad. Hey, the blockbuster bubble has burst, says IGN. We've talked about this on the podcast several times. I'm gonna
fucking IGN. These people don't know shit. Anyway,
there are plenty of nice people that work there. Per Schneider's a nice guy. That's what I can say.
Tell me how you really feel, Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't trust this article. It has Concord on it.
Yeah. Brian Altano seems nice.
I don't know. I don't know these people. Anyway.
Sab Astley is the writer of this article, if you're curious. I don't know who this person is. Okay. So
well, with a name like that, you should.
it's basically the short version of this is, hey, games are getting really expensive and we've had to kill studios and cut jobs. Part of this is like just resizing due to the COVID bubble, but a lot of it's like shit's getting too expensive. AAA projects budgets range from 50 to 150 million. Today they're 200 to 300. And then it requires a studio and a half just to complete the annual Call of Duty game. And then the development costs for the franchise are $660 million with $550 million of marketing. So that makes it a $1.2 billion game. To put that in perspective, Minecraft, the world's best-selling video game, last year only achieved $3 billion in profit. It took 12 years to reach that figure. Yeah, but Minecraft is a game you buy once and doesn't have really microtransactions in it, to my knowledge. Versus Call of Duty, there's a shit ton of microtransactions and you buy it every year. So
I think Minecraft has microtransactions. Don't they sell those costumes or the outfits or whatever for your character skins?
I want to say yes, but I'm probably wrong. That's
everyone I know
mod.
Everyone I know mods that game to get any shit that they want.
Exactly. So. Yeah.
And then a bunch of games that were in development that weren't even revealed got canceled. Hyenas by Creative Assembly, Blizzard Survival Project Odyssey. So and it's basically a long talk saying like, hey, we have to be risk averse and use established IP, but even well-known IP worth millions in sales is being left to rot. Jak and Daxter, infamous Killzone. And then, he said that comment that they lack original IP. What he means by that is it does not fit the mold of what every publisher is chasing, which is the next big live service money printer. And then goes into the whole live service space thing and how, hey, we need to go, the solution to this is scale back a whole bunch. Make games like Balatro and Crimson Diamond and UFO 50 and Animal Well. And then he brings up these games are made by a handful of people rather than little, and they're making more focused games with technological craftiness rather than literally country-sized game worlds. I think that you can have both. It's just AAA is chasing this in a really stupid fucking way.
Well, I mean, the way of chasing both is to scale down the amount of AAA studios doing the AAA thing.
Yes, which I think you can easily do. Like, I think that Sega, funnily enough, has realized its place as like, yeah, dog, we don't need to make games like Grand Theft Auto or Assassin's Creed. We can make these JRPGs and these Sonic games and these, like, beat-em-ups that do really well and have the production values of a AAA game, but the budgets have not blown up. And I think Capcom, outside of Monster Hunter, has also realized that. So it's like, it's about being smart about this, and I think that especially the USA AAA publishers are having a bigger problem with this, and I think Sony is correcting itself after getting burned in live service the past 2 years.
Yes.
That's between that news story we had last week of like Sony's like gonna have at least 1 or 2 single player games every year kind of tells me it's like, okay, we learned our lesson, we're gonna stop. But yeah, it's I think that more games like, hold on, this guy right here are what the future is. More AstroBot.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Sub $100 million to make, probably under 50 if I were taking a guess at the game. Incredibly polished, incredibly fun, great music, great production values. Not that long. Like I think by the time I get the platinum, it'll probably be 20 hours altogether.
That's plenty of time.
Yeah, like that's. Look, man, I've been saying for years, games have gotten too fucking long. It's not. It's nice that I am literally 100%ing every world. I'm over halfway done. It's like, yeah, you've played 11 hours. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice.
Having more time in each game made a lot more sense in a world where there were less games getting out there.
Less games and also less games of that size. Like I was stoked to play like a 100-hour Persona game in 2009 because it was the only 100-hour game of the year. Versus this year, you have Dragon's Dogma, 50 hours. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 50 to 100 hours. Fucking Metaphor ReFantazio, probably 50 to 100 hours. Stop making these long fucking games, please! I'm begging you. I don't have time to play 700-hour RPGs in a year.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping that's the way it goes, because goddamn, do they need it? Just like the money spent and the time, it's killing a lot of them. And you can make very fun games that really positively impact a lot of people smaller. It doesn't have to be crazy.
That look and run great on top of that. Like AstroBot looks amazing. AstroBot plays great. If you want a fancier version, Black Myth Wukong. It's one of the best looking games of the year. Everyone tells me it's amazing. I can't wait to pick it up. It cost $70 million to make. That is the equivalent of, 4 Spider-Man games? Or that is... You can make 4 Black Myth Wukongs from 1 Spider-Man 2.
Right.
That is nuts. Hey,
let's go back to Portal.
Yeah.
Remember Portal?
Portal
Remember how that rocked the video game world?
Yes. Hey, you remember how Half-Life 2 was 15 hours long? And that was the biggest game of the world at the time. I think Nintendo totally understands this. We've talked about this before. Nintendo has not chased the tech dragon or the size dragon outside of Zelda for 20 years now.
Yeah.
Outside
of Zelda.
And even Zelda's just huge. It's not like a technical marvel visually. It looks good.
They're trying to do cool tech things, but it's not unnecessary shit.
It's not. This is. Look, I love Spider-Man 2. It's one of my favorite games of this console generation. It's a fucking highlight of design, but most games do not need perfect ray tracing to the point of where you have reflections of skyscrapers from across the city perfectly rendered. It's awesome when you see it. You're like, holy shit, that's awesome. But the budget to make it is insane. And it's you look at, Tears of the Kingdom, and it's that game, knowing Nintendo, probably maybe 130 million. And that's for the biggest... so this actually, their development budget, 120 million. And that's for their, biggest game. That's their biggest game. That's their biggest seller. We put a shit ton of money into this. And then you look at the rest of Nintendo's catalog, Super Princess Peach probably didn't cost over $50 million. Realistically. That was a big game this year. It was one of the better sellers. Mario Wonder didn't cost probably more than $50 million. That was a top 20 selling game last year. It's just... You don't need to be pushing these insane budgets to make good games that people like. That perform well. I'd be willing to bet you that Metaphor ReFantazio did not cost more than $100 million. I'm trying to think of it, Baldur's Gate. I'm not going to hold anyone to that standard. That game is this weird unicorn to chase as far as scale and everything. But it's the bubble has popped, and I think that it's correcting in a healthy way if you do look at Metacritic. Because if you look at Metacritic, the top 20 reviewed games of this year, it's a very healthy mix of AA and indies and a bunch of different stuff. It's a lot of stuff that is of all sizes, all shapes. If you take out, it's okay, you have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah, that's the biggest AAA-est budget game you can imagine. But then you have UFO 50 as an indie game. It's doing great. But then you have AstroBot and Metaphor, a pair of AA games. And then you have Tekken 8, which is, once again, biggest AAA-est thing you can make. But then you got that Castlevania collection. So it's all of these... all of this needs to exist for a healthy ecosystem to serve all these audiences. But for the longest time, all these publishers only chased AAA.
Right.
And it's finally popping because the industry cannot support enough live service games, and the industry also can't fucking support a million games that are huge graphical monsters.
It's funny that it took it to this point to make that realization when there were games out here like Among Us selling for $3 to $5 copies, making millions.
Well, the problem with the $3 to $4 game is the fact that, you know, what are you making? You know, so you're gonna 30% of that goes to Steam, so you're getting $2 and change, and at $2 and change per copy. Let's say
I'm not saying every game needs to be $5. What I'm saying is you can make a small game and it can be successful.
Yes, but I'm also saying that, like, in something Among Us scale is, like, going to be hard to pitch to any AAA publisher. I think Prince of Persia Lost Crown is a perfect example of a smaller game that did well, but for some reason Ubisoft is like, nah.
I'm just saying there are ways to make tons of money.
There are.
That are not being explored enough by the people who are apparently really good at making money. So they say.
I think that a lot of those people only focus on the biggest fish outside of people.
I'm aware, and that's a problem.
It is. But, like, I also think that is mostly American publishers from what I have noticed. Funnily enough. Because if you notice, all the AA studios right now making AA games that are doing well and making money are Japanese. You know, Nintendo, Japanese. Konami with the Silent Hill 2 remake, Japanese. Unicorn Overlord and Persona and Metaphor, Sega, Japanese. God, Baldur's Gate 3, Europe. I believe Balatro, European developer. If I'm, thank goodness you're here, European developer. Like, it's. So I think this might be an American game industry crash more than it is a global crash. Frostpunk 2, perfect AA game this year. By the way, Anthony gave it a 4 out of 5. Very positive coverage. You can go watch that review. But you know, that's another case. European developers. So maybe it's just an American game industry crash? ?
I mean, it wouldn't
Crash
surprise
seems
me,
a bit
honestly.
dramatic. Yeah.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like everything else here.
Just everything is burning very slowly right now.
The whole country has become California.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's it for news. Unless you got anything else on this, you know, AAA.
I did want to bring up two things. One really quick one about Black Ops, which is a very positive and really cool, interesting story. But the main one I wanted to talk about is that lawsuit with Ubisoft right now.
Oh, right. They're getting sued over the crew, right?
Yep.
Yes, it's a live service game. Absolutely amazing game. One of the, I love big sim racers. I've got the full pedals, shifter, everything. I'm even going to get for next year, I'm going to be getting a full helmet and everything just for my streams to do these games. But this particular game that they're being sued over is they shut down the server, and a lot of people bought the physical, digital, and it's just, you can't play it anymore. It was renowned for being the biggest open world racing game. You could travel from New York to California, and it would take you about an hour and a half. At least that's how long it took me in game. Just drive across. But yes,
it's the original The Crew, right?
Yes, the original The Crew, before they did the whole game showy tried to copy Horizon.
So,
the original had an awesome storyline. I had a couple gripes about it. One of them, you can't reset the story. You can't replay the story. It was that type of live service where once you started, all you could do is what you didn't do already. You could replay missions, but you couldn't just replay the game. But anyway, they're being sued right now. Aside from California making it mandatory that these businesses give consumers a heads up. Hey, just because you're buying this doesn't mean you'll be able to own it and have it forever.
Yeah.
Instead of, but if this goes the right way and this person actually gets money out of Ubisoft, because this is a big thing that a lot of gamers get fed up with. Once you buy something, you kind of expect to have it around. I mean, there's other games that are online, but aren't like monitored by the publisher anymore, but they're still live. Like, again, Avengers, it's shut down, but you can play with friends online still. I mean, so this lawsuit is very interesting because if this actually swings the right way, this might cause issue with all other publishers to second think shutting down services for games where they could just make an offline mode. This game is completely unplayable, and once games like this go off, like there's pretty much just wasted your money.
I think that.
And you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and for like archiving it, it's nearly impossible.
So as a person who is a fan of preservation of games and wants to see all games live forever, I love this idea. What realistically I think is going to end up happening is just a warning that you are buying a license. You are not buying a game. You are buying a license to use a game.
It would be nice if this ruling was like, you got to find a way to keep this game alive in some way, even if it's like give them tools to create like offline servers or whatever and let them keep doing that. I don't see them doing that because we live in a cynical world. But
right.
I mean, that's why I said exactly what I said. I was like, well, I'm going to tell you the realistic option that's going to happen.
But on the off chance the judge actually swings and awards this Matt character with the money, then that just opens up a floodgate of lawsuits from gamers to publishers. And I doubt the gaming industry could handle that with a number of games that have gone offline that people have actually spent money. And this was one of the early on like expensive games that had like high tier payments. Like, oh, you pay this much, you get all this stuff. I mean, hell, I'm spending $120 on the new Civilization game just so I can have everything.
So I think what like the more realistic thing that's going to happen with that is like, one, the thing when you're buying them, like, hey, this is a license to use this, and then B, maybe, just maybe, they're like, okay, if we do shut down the game, here is the tools to do a private server if you want to. Like, that, realistically, like, they think that's the solution there. It is, like, you'll have that go on. You'll have... Right. What's it called? Because similar stuff has happened, like, on the PS3 games that have online shut down, where, like, MotorStorm, Resistance, a bunch of other PS3 games, like, have a bunch of people go make PSN fan-made servers, and you can play a bunch of those games that no longer have online now. So, like, for example, like, if you want to play SOCOM Confrontation, they're currently testing that. If you want to play Warhawk, yep, there's X-Link Kai and a server, and here's the GitHub for the source code. There you go, we made it happen. Little Big Planet 1 and 2, Metal Gear Online 2, like, so...
You did say Warhawk, right?
I did say Warhawk, yes. There are private Warhawk servers and a Discord for it. Go with God. But yeah,
I don't need God for when I play that game. I'm so getting into that. I don't be surprised if next week I've been playing Warhawk.
So basically, what you have to do is you have to it's a website, ps1.online. And then it is, you go into the network settings, you change the DNS for the PS3, and you'll be able to connect to a very small list of online games that is being worked on. Currently, it is Warhawk, PlayStation Home, SOCOM, Twisted Metal Black, and Wipeout.
And
those are the
PlayStation Home.
Yes. And they're currently working on Twisted Metal Reboot, and apparently they just got Metal Gear Online working. So, yeah. You need a working PS3 to plug into this, but otherwise, yeah. It is available.
I know what I'm going to be hunting for.
Yep. Apparently they're partially got Mod Nation Racers working, and there's another service working on MAG.
Oh, I love that game.
They got PlayStation All-Stars working through Parsec. So this is the kind of shit that's going to happen. Like, this is what's going to happen is, like, a bunch of people on the internet are going to get real stoked and go make this shit on their own. It's going to happen.
And I hope that, you know, worst case scenario, that's the situation. I don't want to see any repercussions for these people doing this, though, because, like, all we want to do is just play the games. We've already paid you money. Why you gotta, like, come after us at this point?
You've
made your money. You keep making the same games, and you're not making the same quality of games.
So I can tell you why partially they have to do it, and it's because of the fact that they have a, what's it called? So there's this thing where it's like you have to protect your copyright or else you forfeit your copyright. So you have to, like, so that's what happened with, like, Blizzard and the old WoW private servers for vanilla before Classic, is they shut them down because they had to protect their copyright. So that's what happens in that case. And it's a real shitty situation, I agree. I think copyright law needs to be changed of, if you're not making money on it, it doesn't matter, they can just do it, whatever, who cares. But, you know, but you have to protect your copyright. Some people go a little too far in protecting their copyright. Cough, cough.
Nintendo.
But, yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, I think that fan-made servers are probably the best you're going to get. So I think what Ubisoft should do is, hey, we shut down the crew, but here's the online servers for the PC version. If you can get this shit working on a PlayStation, do what you gotta do. I think that's probably the safest bet.
Well, I'll definitely be paying attention to this one.
Yep.
The second piece of positive news is the first player to Prestige with not killing a single player on Black Ops 6 has happened.
Yeah, I saw that on TikTok. All this man did was shoot down UAVs and orbital shits.
Now, I don't usually I'll usually be like, oh, okay, you're doing a pacifist run, but to Prestige,
yeah,
especially this early on, I had to take notice, and I'm like, that is actually really cool. That is impressive. You didn't kill a single player, but it made me think, what were you doing before anyone had a kill streak? Were you just running around in circles, just getting shot at?
He was probably just capturing objectives, like capturing points and stuff.
But I thought that was like that little positive out of a really crazy couple of months.
Yeah,
with gaming, you know, it's cool.
There are people who will do World of Warcraft ones where they only level through professions. So they'll just pick flowers and mine to level.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. I just never expected to see that out of a Call of Duty.
Call of Duty? Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, so we need to get on to what we've been playing. I have a very fucking lengthy what we've been playing today, which is good because it looks like everyone else's besides Emily's was pretty thin. Alright. I I bought a PS5 Pro back when it came out. Last week I did some impressions. This week, for the podcast, I wanted to do a deep dive. I wanted to play every PS5 Pro game I had access to, or almost every game. I didn't check out the finals, I didn't check out Warframe, and I didn't check out Fortnite. But every other Pro-enabled game I've had access to, I went and I played. And I messed around and did comparisons, and turns out my new TV is really fancy because there's a built-in frame rate counter if you're in game mode.
Nice.
So that's nice. Was able to check that out. Aaron, I know you had a question about the Pro. What was it, if you remember?
Well, I want you to go into detail so I can start asking.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, first game I played, so I'm going to go through the games, and I'm going to go over overall thoughts. Baldur's Gate 3. I did the PSN trial for this. It has two modes. Performance mode, which is 60 FPS at 1440p upscaled to 4K. And then a full 4K fidelity mode. Gonna be honest, credit to Larian for this. With it, like, I had to look super closely to tell the difference between their upscaled mode and their native mode. The only way I was able to tell is I looked at armor and I was like, oh, you can see a little bit of a resolution difference, and also the hair is a little fuzzy on the edges, and that was it. I will say that, to give perspective, I am sitting about 3 to 4 feet away from a 55-inch OLED TV, so you know my
right,
how far away I'm sitting and whatnot.
Does it ever overheat next to your fireplace?
No, it does not.
Okay, great. Good. You heard it here first.
All right, so I tested Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. They have a 60 FPS performance mode, a 60 FPS balanced mode, and then a 30 FPS full fidelity mode. So for Last of Us 1, I tested all three modes, and the balanced mode is only available if you have a VRR set, like a set with variable refresh rate or a monitor with variable refresh rate. However, interesting thing with it is like when I put it in that middle mode and I was flipping between it and the performance and the quality, the performance mode looks markedly worse, right? Like it does. It looks markedly worse. But when I load into the middle mode, the way it upscales to 4K native, like I said, PSSR doing work. It looks fantastic. It looks almost like native 4K. Like, this PSSR stuff reminds me very much of DLSS, but it's actually, in some ways, better implemented because DLSS is very inconsistent game to game. But in this particular case, Last of Us Part 1 Remake looked fantastic. In fact, the game looked so sharp that it made the film grain filter on it made the game look bad. I had to turn the film grain off. It was like, this is too clean. Last of Us 1 is almost the exact same. Last of Us 2 Remaster is almost the exact same. So yeah, I think that once again, in this case, they're upscaling tech to get 60 FPS and make 1440p look like 4K. Did an amazing job. A+ on Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. Ratchet & Clank, this one's weird. This was a weird one. So, there's two modes. There's Performance Pro, which is the old fidelity mode from regular PS5 with full ray tracing, just at 60 FPS instead of 30. Then they have their 4K 30 mode, but they have a toggle you can turn on, once again, if you have a VRR capable display, where it's 30, but it uncaps the frame rate entirely, and then it, like, according to the frame rate counter, it was kind of hovering between 45 and 55, but it feels like 60 because of the VRR. So
Okay.
So like ratcheting and like on that setting, you can also, if you want to tweak it more, if you have a VRR TV, it allows you to tweak ray tracing some more. So yeah, I the so for these 3 Sony games so far, it really made me feel like this whole thing was made for someone with a VRR TV, because I feel like that is who is getting the most out of this. Because you're getting the even better graphics, but you're getting a game that if it's not 60, it feels like 60.
Okay.
Madden's simple. It looks sharper. It's 4K 60 native, and you can't change settings at all. There's no settings. They took out the settings. Right. So, best of both worlds. Stellar Blade is a nightmare. It has 5 settings now.
Okay.
It has 5 fucking settings. They have the 3 settings from the PS3, and then they added, or sorry, PS3. They have 3 settings for the PS5 base version, and then they have 2 new Pro settings. They have one setting that's just called Pro, which is 4K 60, and then Pro Max, which is like 45 to 50, but makes up for it with VRR. And it looks not really noticeable difference from the regular Pro mode. Pro Max had slightly softer edges, but not anything you'd probably notice in gameplay outside of like a couple things. Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales are identical to Ratchet and Clank, except the frame rate runs even higher. Like even in fidelity mode, it's at 80 to 95 FPS. So, yeah. Both Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales get a big win there. And they both get a nice little extra bump with better ray tracing, native 4K. Apex, this one, you basically get 2 modes, 60 in full 4K or 120 performance mode. The 120 performance mode looks kind of blurry. It doesn't look great.
Right.
That's really the only one I had to say on that one. Okay, so God of War Ragnarok's fucking weird. They give you a lot of options. So they even let you choose what kind of EP scaling you want to use. If you want to use TAA, temporal anti-aliasing, or that you use PSSR. And the 60 FPS mode so you get a 60 FPS mode with upscaling, 30 FPS native 4K, 1440p PSSR up to 4K with 60 to 90 FPS according to my tracker. The performance mode looks, and then there's a 120 FPS performance mode. That looked very soft and not super crisp. But like the 60 FPS mode, 1440p with PSSR looks fantastic. It looks almost as good as the native 4K mode. They did a great job with that once again. All the first-party Sony studios that have been using PSSR, holy shit, it looks great. And you're really getting best of both worlds. Spider-Man 2 is kind of more of the same, except they give you more ability to fine-tune the ray tracing to help tune the frame rate even more on VRR displays.
Okay.
So, like, it hits like 40-ish FPS on if you turn everything on and put it in the fidelity mode, but the VRR makes it feel like 60. And then its performance mode is the old system's fidelity mode at a full 60. So that game already was the best looking game I've ever seen. And now it's running at 60 instead of 30. Or I can make it look even better, and because I have a VRR display, play it and make it feel like 60. So, yeah.
Okay.
Resident Evil Village is a weird one. They did not do much for this game. It does not have quality modes. It just now lets so there used to be 2 modes, 60 FPS mode or ray tracing mode that ran at like 45 FPS. Now ray tracing mode runs at a lock 60, and they've added a high frame rate mode where the game can run at 120, or if you turn on ray tracing, it runs at like 100-ish. So yeah. RE4 has resolution mode and performance mode, but resolution mode with RT on and no high frame rate still hits a lot 60. Like RE4 performs great, so you could turn on resolution mode, ray tracing, and still have a lock 60 FPS. And if you turn on performance mode with high frame rate, it goes up to like 100. It's super responsive.
Okay.
Jedi Survivor. They have 2 modes, 30 FPS, 4K with ray tracing, which is 1800p upscaled to 4K. And then they have performance mode, which is 60 FPS, where it upscales from 1200 to 1800p with limited ray tracing, like very limited. They don't say what kind of upscaling they use. This game is like the perfect example of the choice mattering a lot, because I feel like this game at 30 FPS feels miserable. Like, the frame pacing feels real bad. It does not feel good at all. But the ray tracing and quality of the visuals in its fidelity mode are, like, so much better, especially the lighting because of the RT. It's notable. So this is, like, the one game that, like, I was kind of disappointed by Pro a lot. Like, a lot.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Horizon 2. It has 3 modes that are really vague: balanced, fidelity, and performance. They don't say what is turned on in each mode. They just say, hey, performance mode is high fidelity. Balance mode is higher fidelity. Fidelity mode is maximum fidelity. And then they say the frame rate. So it's 60, 40 with VRR, and then 30. I will say that and then same thing as before, the old fidelity mode is now the performance mode. I think that all 3 of these modes look fucking great. You definitely, as always, notice a difference in performance mode versus fidelity, and I think if you have a VRR set, as that has been the theme of this fucking system, the balanced mode is the way to go. Demon Souls has the 2 old settings plus a specific pro setting where you literally get the best of both. There's no reason not to play this game just on pro mode. That is all.
Okay.
Demon Souls is simple.
Great.
You no longer... Demon Souls similar is a case of you no longer have to choose. It is more of the same.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is one of the 2 big highlights visually. Like, this is the one where, like, oh no, this does make a difference. Because they used to have 3 settings: performance, versus smoothness, versus frame rate, and they used to have fidelity, which is it runs at native 4K and it's 30 FPS. And the performance modes in this game looked like shit. They looked real bad. They looked really blurry. Like, it looked like them trying to upscale like a 720p image. And it just looked super blurry and bad. So I played that entire game in 30 FPS. Well, they now added a new versatility mode where it runs at 60 and is being upscaled with PSSR. PSSR. I don't know. People are calling it pisser. I'm not kidding.
Of course they are.
Yep.
People.
Fucking Lucy.
Amazing.
I'm sorry, but that was funny. At this point in our age, the internet's going to internet. Yep. You either might as well laugh at it or get upset by it. I choose laughter.
Okay, that's fair.
I've got a big enough forehead. I don't need frown lines.
So they added this new mode. It's called Versatility Mode, Best of Both Worlds. And I played it and did the intro section in what's the name of that first city? God, I'm forgetting its name. Not Junon. Nibelheim. I did the Nibelheim section with Cloud and Sephiroth, and I did it again in the fidelity mode and performance mode. Yeah, performance mode still looks bad. It's blurry. It's not good. Fidelity mode still looks amazing, 30 FPS. So the new versatility mode is interesting. It looks almost identical to the fidelity mode at 60, except in bigger open world sections, you occasionally get like an Unreal 3 style pop in real quick. It's faster than the Unreal 3 one. It doesn't hang there, but like it does occasionally. Okay, we're figuring it out. Okay, that's what's on that mountain. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, highlight, the absolute highlight. Best of both worlds. One of the best looking games on the system. Silent Hill 2 says it's pro enhanced, but it doesn't have the patch yet.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So nothing to test there.
Fine.
So, goddamn Konami. Dragon's Dogma, you can finally get 60 FPS in town with ray tracing on. You no longer have the in-town issues. I was playing on balanced mode, which you can play on any system, and it very much felt good. Occasionally you would get frame dips in combat still, but it's a much improved FPS increase.
Right.
Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2, the old quality mode is now the performance mode at 60. And then they've changed the upscaling from FSR2 to PSSR. And the quality mode is still 30, the new one. But they've added, instead of limited ray tracing, they've added full ray tracing. It doesn't look as good as the PC version with full ray tracing because they had to limit a couple of things, but it looks a lot better than it did. And the way that this game is frame paced, 30 FPS does not feel bad. And if you do have a VRR display, it makes up for the difference in a big way. Okay, that's all the games. That's all the ones I tried. Jesus fucking Christ.
Good lord.
Was it worth it?
Yes, it was. It gave me
What did it cost?
It gave me a better appreciation for what this thing is and who I could recommend it to. So before I go into that, Aaron, what is your questions?
I mean, I don't know. Hearing it listed off game after game after game, I'm sitting here like being reminded of what the prices were for each console beforehand. The more I'm hearing, the more I'm like, I don't know if it's another Xbox Series S worth of money. It sounds good. For if you can afford the larger console, that sounds great. You should do that. But
so my easiest recommendation I can say is if you do not have a PS5, this would be still the one I would get, because now you are getting the old fidelity mode at 60. So you're not as limited and games are going to look better in general. Apparently someone is back in the chat. They had to leave because they were debating potatoes with a friend. Okay then.
That sounds... Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they had... so I think that if you do not have a PS5, it's a very easy recommend. If you do have a PS5... but you also have a VRR monitor or display, it's also a very easy recommend. Because you're getting a notable uptick in visuals while still keeping good frame rate. However, if you have a PS5 and you do not have a VRR display, it is a very fucking hard recommend that I probably would not give. So,
yeah.
Because... there are some exceptions. Like if every game was like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, then fuck yeah, dude. Yes, this is absolutely worth it. So there's that. But that's not the case. Some games you get a big benefit out of it. Some games you get a little, and it just very much depends. I do think over time, over the next year or two, this is going to change. When we start seeing stuff like Venom and Ghost of Yotei and Monster Hunter, those kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
Monster Hunter ran really bad on base PS5. Now it's in beta. We'll see how it goes. You know,
Right.
just like how I think that, like, I think Insomniac, Venom will run, and Ghost of Yotei, in the case of Sucker Punch, will probably run fine on base PS5. I'm curious to see what the difference in Grand Theft Auto is going to be.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of my recommendations. After going real deep with it, it is easy to recommend if you have the extra $200 to throw on a system. And then that is the difference. Is like the price difference is $200. You get more storage, 2 terabytes instead of 1, but you also don't get a disk drive. So in my opinion, okay, no matter what, you're gonna have to spend an extra $100 on something down the line. So
Right.
yeah, I think that it's not an easy recommend for everyone.
Right.
But I think, like, what I would tell people first is upgrade your monitor. Like, go and get a VRR display and, as high quality as you can afford in that range. But otherwise, like, yeah. I don't know, any other specific questions you have?
I don't know. Yeah. The more I hear about it, the less sure I am. Just because it sounds like it's going to be a financial investment no matter what.
Yeah. And particularly what I do, I was thinking about upgrading, but it doesn't really
But it
seem
sounds
like
like
it's worth
as
it.
games, as these bigger games, start coming out and start taking advantage of this, like the difference is going to be stark.
Yeah, and I'm fine with waiting until that's the case.
Looks like we'll be finding out with the next big 3.
Yeah, I think that one thing that has told me is I think next consoles, the next batch in 2028, are going to be using a lot of upscaling tech like PSSR instead of trying to brute force hardware due to cost. And then so I think that also as time goes on, that this thing will be a significant upgrade, but it's like, what is the first game that's... Because none of these games were made native with the Pro in mind. They're all retrofitting these games. So, like, is getting one right now, like, a necessity? No. If you're a big Monster Hunter fan and, like, you want the best experience and you're going to play on console, okay, sure. Like, I think the first real test of this thing is going to be next year with Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto, those kind of things in mind. And then it's like, okay, well, do I want to spend $700 on a PS5 Pro or do I want to blow $1,000 on a 4080?
Right.
It's either way. Pow says that most people can't even afford an extra $400 expense. No, most people can't.
Right.
Like so, yeah. But no, I after my deep dive on it though, I have a lot more positive impressions of it now though, and especially as a long-term device. Especially as a I'm going to be using this for a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lucy, you had questions about the Steam Deck as long as I'm talking about tech reviews and shit. What you were like? You said you were looking at a Steam Deck, but then maybe not.
Well, I mean, I'm just getting into PC gaming, and I like being able to not have to be at my desk sometimes.
Yep, I get that. That is a big part of why I play on console. But go on.
I mean, does it install natively, or is it over the network?
So it installs natively. Installs the game on the memory of the system. So yeah, it is like running the game natively. It's just so here are the caveats of the Steam Deck. It runs a Linux-based operating system with a translation layer, which means if you're looking at getting a Steam Deck, you might want to look at what games you'd want to play on the Steam Deck. Because, for example, Call of Duty can actually run on Steam Deck. However, its anti-cheat doesn't, so you're fucked if you want to play Call of Duty on Steam Deck, for example.
Okay, so say if I wanted to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it runs. Cyberpunk works perfectly on the Steam Deck. It even has a Steam Deck setting. Fun fact.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. But like Baldur's Gate 3, for example, runs on Steam Deck, but the performance is pretty rough. Versus like Elden Ring runs fine on Steam Deck. So it's very much like whatever game that you want to play on Steam Deck, you have to go and look up what is the caveat with playing it on Steam Deck. So there's that. Now, the advantage of Steam Deck is it's portable and it's very flexible and you can do a bunch of shit with it. So, like, if you want to play a game like Call of Duty, you can get another drive, you can get a SD card and put Windows on it and dual boot Windows. You know, and run Windows on it and flip over to Windows. Now, you know, that's kind of a pain in the ass that some people might want to put up with. Like, I don't want to bother with it, but I also don't really give a shit about playing anti-cheat games on my Steam Deck. Like, I'm not going to be like, if I'm going to be playing a game like COD or a game like Destiny, I don't want to play it on a 7.5-inch screen in my armchair. You know? So, yeah, like, that's something to keep in mind. If you absolutely need a, like, Windows on it for some reason, like some game just will not play nice with Steam Deck, and you don't want to go through the trouble of dual booting into Windows, there is a very similar device called the ROG Ally X.
That's what I was looking at, actually.
Yes.
I've heard of better...
Sorry, go ahead.
I said I was just saying I've heard better reviews about that.
So,
that particular one.
If you're gonna get an Ally, get the X. Better battery life, VRR support. In my opinion, it's worth the extra $150. Better performance, more everything. The qualifier I can say with it is it uses a full version of Windows, which means you have to put up with using Windows on a touchscreen, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. But if you can get past that point and get into like the Asus launcher, it's fine. And then also on the opposite end, there is a Steam Deck style OS for it that you can download called Bazite that if you dual boot into it, it turns it into a Steam Deck, essentially. The disadvantage of the Ally versus the Steam Deck, in my mind, are one, if you don't intend to dual boot Bazite, it's more resource intensive because it's a full version of Windows, and even though it has a bigger battery, it still drains battery faster than the deck. And then the deck OLED specifically does have a nicer screen. But on the other side of that, this thing is more powerful, so it can play games a little better, and it has a full Windows support, so it's going to be compatible with more games. So it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want battery life and a better screen, or do you want more horsepower and more game options if you don't want to dual boot a second operating system?
I'd probably go with the second option anyway.
Yeah. So
more games, more power, or more games, more fun.
Yes, there you go. Let's see. Blasian says in the chat, ROG Ally hype face. I finally started using my Ally. I enjoy it, but yeah, battery life is cheeks. I warned you, dude. The battery life on all these handhelds is not great. Like, even the deck, you're kind of, if you're playing a full 3D game like Cyberpunk, the deck is limited like 2.5 to 3 hours. So, and then the Ally is like 90 minutes. Like, it's really bad if you're playing a full 3D game. But I want third options. Someone make a third option. There are third options. There's a Lenovo Legion Go. There is the Zotac Zone. There's the MSI Claw. But after doing homework on all of those, the one that I would recommend still at the end of the day is an ROG Ally X or a Steam Deck OLED. Those are the two I would comfortably recommend to people and be like, yo, these are the two handhelds you should get. MSI Claw is the coolest name. I don't know. I really like the name Steam Deck. I like it. I dig it.
Since there's an MSI claw, there needs to be an MSI gadget.
Ah! A+ dad joke there.
Thank you. I'll be here all weekend.
Yeah. And I do think the industry is shifting towards these portables. I don't necessarily... I'm not sure if the PC ones are going to be the most popular. But... comments in chat. Thank God it's just my emulator and fighting game machine. And that I warned you about the battery life. Yeah, and I think that the Ally is a great emulator machine. So is the deck. The deck, if you're a fan of emulators, though, the deck is great because it has all these scripts to get them up and running easily, which is nice. Like, the community has gone far and away to make that shit as easy as possible. And then Pow Pow. Is it because it sounds like steamy dick, or is that my brain? That is definitely your brain.
Now that he mentioned that, it's in my head now.
All right. So
I will never be the same.
So yeah, I don't know, Lucy. Do you have any other questions about the handhelds?
No, that's about it. I mean, it's not an investment that I'm gonna go out and get, but it was something I was interested in because I do like having the handhelds. I've been enjoying having the Switch. I only play one game on it anyway, but as far as having my Portal, I'll just, if I don't want to get out of bed one day, I just pull out the Portal and play the PlayStation from there. And the battery life on that's actually pretty good.
Well, yeah,
I'll forget to charge it for like weeks on end, and I'll plug it, like I'll turn it on, and it's still got like well over half battery life.
Well, that's the reason that is because the Steam Deck and the OLED and the Ally are running like natively. It's running like a full mini computer versus the Portal is a screen and a Wi-Fi card and the controls.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to drive that bus. You know, so Blasian, glad you're enjoying your Ally though. I did, and that was it's very easy to recommend these handhelds to people. They all have different caveats, but for the most part it's very easy to go like, I don't know, do you want to play PC games on the toilet? You can.
I will not confirm or deny that I've actually used the Portal to do such said shenanigans while streaming.
All right. Real quick, if people are looking to buy a gaming handheld right now, the original ROG Ally Z1 Extreme is on sale on Best Buy right now for $500. So if you're willing to make some more compromises in battery life over the Ally X, along with a little bit less memory, yeah, that is an option. It's a decent one too. So. Mm-hmm. All right, on to the rest of what we've been playing. Lucy, how's Black Ops been treating you? Because that's what I understood what you played.
Well, since I've been kind of busy with projects and getting my working on still my room, and I just got my 3D printer in yesterday, so that's going to be a fun project. But yeah, I've only had time to actually play Black Ops, and I'm still loving it. Season Pass just dropped. The new maps just dropped. Haven't gotten a chance to play them too much.
Where are the new maps? Do you know? Because I haven't been able to get. I've been doing maps.
I don't know.
Fucking new maps.
I've been hearing that with a lot of other people as well. I don't know. I can't tell you. When I do multiplayer, I do a couple rounds of Nuketown 24/7. To be honest, I have now exclusive Monster energy drink items because I decided, I love double XP. They rarely ever hand it out, so I've been rolling around with that, and I've get like when I do forget to turn off like the lobby, it's like, how the fuck did you get that skin? Are you a cheater? And then somebody's like, no, you idiot. they're doing a brand deal with Monster, so that was interesting.
I just love how like Call of Duty has in that way has not changed in like 12 years.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to point out, and this has been bothering me all week about Call of Duty, is they didn't want to do the item progression or transfer for your skin from Cold War the last two games.
Yep. Because
they wanted to keep this game grounded and accurate to the period.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen the store lately, but some of these skins don't fucking don't match that description of what they wanted. And I want my Homelander skin. I want my Alucard one.
I haven't even turned on the store and looked in the store, but I am already fucking annoyed by playing the multiplayer matches and seeing a fucking dude in green dragon armor with neon green guns, and I'm just like, this is so fucking stupid. And not in like the fun Fortnite way. This is just dumb. Because you have this game that is like hyper serious, like action movie bullshit, and then the multiplayer for the first 2 weeks is the same, and now I got a fucking green dragon armored dude running around with his lightning shotgun, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid as hell.
Yeah, and that like I was complaining about that before this came out, and I was going to just accept it and move on.
Yeah.
But they've clearly decided otherwise, and I'm a little pissed because I spent money on these skins. I liked it. I didn't get the Nicki Minaj one because I don't like Nicki Minaj. She was fine when I was a teenager, and that was what they played on the dance floor. I'd barely call it a dance, more like awkward standing around while some guy pretending to be a DJ is living his best life. But it bothers me. It really does, because like you could have just kept the transition of the skins going from game to game at this point.
The thing for me is it doesn't bother me mainly just because COD has done this for years, because it's like, oh, I bought the maps for Modern Warfare 2, they don't carry into Black Ops 1. You know, like you know, like this has been, I've just accepted that every year it's a full reset, and because of that, I don't buy microtransactions for COD, so it saves me money. So, that lesson was learned. It's, and I'm still enjoying the game. It's just that every now and then I see someone with this fucking dumb as shit dragon armor, and I'm just like, oh, if anything, it makes them just a fucking target. Oh god, I missed some comments in the chat. Let's see. I appreciate you, Snow, Ethan's tip, my guy. I think he's referring to, I referred him to mine and Ethan's tips regarding the portable PCs. Yeah, no problem, dude.
So the maps, though, we do need to talk about the fucking maps. They're so fucking horrendous.
Most of them, yeah. There are a couple of good ones, but most of them are bad.
And I've been reading stories and seeing like clips on TikTok about how some of the camo skins are just nearly impossible or they're glitched. Because like for snipers, you got to get over 200 meters of a headshot. Most of the maps don't even give you that opportunity to get that long of a shot.
Yeah,
and it's I'm still loving the game. Don't get me wrong. I just have my frustrations, and I also upgraded to the Vault Edition.
So in my case, I just don't think the maps are well designed in terms of like the layout and the modes. Like, it just feels really weird and off-putting in a lot of ways. Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. Like, some of them are great. Like, I legitimately love the, what's it called? I legitimately love Skyline. I really like the train map. It's just like you run into like Scud. Ugh, every time I get that map, I'm just like, fuck, I hate this place.
I hate Gala.
Yeah, so anyway, we need to move on to M's what she's been playing, real quick. Hey M. Oh, hey M.
Hey yo, what's up?
You played Dragon Age Veilguard. How is it? What do you think?
I'm only like 5 hours in
Okay,
on Dragon Age. But so far I'm having a good time. Like I just rescued one of the characters from a prison that is underwater.
sounds cool.
I
Sounds pretty
know,
dope.
I know. I was like, so I've been texting my friend who is also playing Veilguard, and I'm like, oh, what the shit is going on? Like, ah. But overall, yeah, I'm having a good time.
Oh,
Good.
any critiques on the characters? I know that Anthony has said he has not enjoyed his party members so far. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I'm a little indifferent
Okay.
because you can customize your party when you go to certain areas. They have these little beacons where you
Mm-hmm.
can just be like, oh, I want to have this character, but I don't want this character. Let's switch for someone else that's kind of hanging out for a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, I'm indifferent.
All right. All right. Well, cool. Till early to tell on that one. Aaron, you played nada. You played
Yeah,
nothing. You
played
still
some
moving?
Zenless Zone Zero a little bit. That's what I got for you.
You played some Z.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Talked about Black Ops. Talked about Veilguard. PS5 Pro testing. Played AstroBot. It's still basically a perfect game. It's charming and fun, and the music is so fucking good. I was playing a level.
Oh God,
My girlfriend was like on the couch just hanging out, and she's like, "That music, I'm feeling it."
it's a vibe. It's a straight up vibe, and it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So and then so Warcraft did its 30th anniversary direct this week, and as part of that, they put out 1 and 2 remastered, and they put out a new patch for Warcraft 3 Reforged to make it better. And I played I've never played Warcraft 1. I played 2 and 3, but I never played 1. So I went and I played Warcraft 1. Holy shit. Man, that series came a long way in 3 games. My God.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like even with the updated graphics, it's like, yeah, you know you can only make 1 unit at a time? And you can only construct buildings on roads? So you have to build roads
cool.
before you can build buildings.
I can hear the logic behind that, but also
Yeah, and
not
then
a
you
great
play,
experience, but okay.
and then you play Warcraft 2, and it doesn't fix the like unit queuing thing, but it does fix the rest. And you're like, it moves a lot faster, and the story's a little more in depth, and it's just a better experience. And then you play Warcraft 3, and you're like, it's perfect. They made a perfect RTS.
Nice, good, done.
Like done. You can queue up units, group units. The story's great, looks great. You did your job. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see the beginning of the franchise though, where it's just like, oof. You know,
that's the thing. It's history.
It also came out in 1994, so I'm a little, you know.
It shows.
Yes, especially when you switch to old graphics mode, and you're like, Jesus, this looks good for the time, but man, that's rough. So, anyway, yeah, that's it, guys. I think that's it. So, I haven't been doing this. You should follow the YouTube and the Twitch and like and sub. We got more content coming soon. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for hanging. See you later.